They should name a strain called procrastination.
I think that'll be too on the nose.
Might exist. Who knows?
They should create a strain called lazy, unemployable bastard.
This is a warning to all living mortals, that who shall ever open this chest of demons will release 13 of the most terrifying ghosts upon the face of the earth. Okay, cut it. This isn't going to work. Let's try some nostalgia bait.
It's mighty strange. You looking at the lazy rain. I can't settle in bed. Or have you picked your target yet? Listen, babe. Got your dog bite. Listen, babe.
Okay, that was better. But let's try something a bit more cinematic.
You about to witness hip-hop in its most purest, most rawest form, flow, almost flawless, most hardest, most honest, known artist. Chip off the old block, but old Doc is back. Looks like Batman brought his own Robin. Oh God, Saddam's got his own Laden. Off the hinges, oranges, peach, pears, plums, oranges. Yeah, here I come, my inches away from you, there fear none. Hip-hop is in a state of 911 zone. Let's get down to business. I don't got no time to play around. What is this? Must be a circus in town. Let's shut the shit down on these clowns. Can I get a witness? Hell, let's get down to business. I don't got no time to play around. What is this? Must be a circus in town. Let's shut the shit down on these clowns. Can I get a witness?
Yeah, that's the shit I like. Let's start the Barroom podcast. Take it away, Jacob.
What up, ladies and gentlemen? We are here for episode 162 of the Ballroom Podcast, and I'm going to go ahead and forewarn some of you guys here tonight. I'm probably going to make some people upset, and some people are going to be pretty butthurt after the show is over, because I got a lot of things to say about a multitude of topics here tonight. And to do it, and to bring my accomplices in, because that's basically what you guys are at this point, you're guilty by association. My accomplices here tonight are starting to my right. Our good buddy Rob Model is back. How you doing, Rob?
I'm doing good.
That's no energy.
I'm doing good. No, I'm doing good. Happy to be here with you. Fine. Yeah, it's all gentlemen again. Sausage fest.
Speaking of stoner energy, our good buddy Cider's here tonight. How you doing, Cider?
What's up, everybody? Just hanging out here at the Oasis. That's right, the Egyptian-themed lounge that Bounding Into Comics has here. That's right, playing Goat Simulator on the Bounding Battlemax multi-game arcade cabinet. All right. I'm going to go be tired again now.
Only just now realized that thing had Bounding written on it.
Whatever, bite me. Gosh, try to entertain you guys. Don't even look at what I'm doing. Goat Simulator right there for you.
Why did I come on this show? This sucks.
Why do I even bother? Gee.
Our good buddy cackling in the background, TW. How's it going there?
Yo, what up? It's going all right.
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff to talk about here tonight. And also joining us here is the long-haired, bearded hero, Eddie Brock. How's it going?
I'm doing well. I hope you all can hear me now.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hooray. I like to dedicate this show to the 16-year-old kid. Have you seen this video? It's going viral. This 16-year-old kid, he decides that he wanted to be a little hungry, right? Throughout his
is this the
work
little
shift?
disabled kid? Yeah.
Right. And he decided this. He didn't steal, but he decided to just munch periodically through about 3 months or so, $110 worth of snacks and goodies from the local supermarket that was around there.
Yeah.
And the HR department and the manager of this place called the police on this 16-year-old.
Not only called the police, but then videotaped the whole thing too for further humiliation.
Unbelievable. And then they were like, "Do you have anything?" He's like, I know that cop wanted to pull a gun on that kid. He just wanted. What do you have in your pockets? I have a cell phone and some AirPods.
Stop resisting!
Right. Just terrible. So I'm dedicating this show, at least my portion of it, to this kid. Godspeed and good luck, kid. Kind of good luck.
Yeah. It's one of those moments where I wish I just had a billy club so I can bonk everyone in the room except for the kid. But yeah, it's one of those type of things. But we got a lot of things that are going to make us explode here tonight, because this is going to be a very high energy podcast here. That, like I said, I got a lot of things to say. Put it to you this way. I'm going to try not to say certain words in certain phrases here tonight, but if I do, just understand that I really did try to put in the effort to not be as direct and on the nose tonight as I'm going to be throughout the course of this night. So an effort was in fact made to try to restrain myself, which I'll probably fail miserably in doing. So I'm just giving you a forewarning. Before we get to that point, let's go ahead and introduce all of our people in the chat for this episode. Gothic Chick is coming here saying that I don't like Rachel Maddow, and with a lot of puke faces. Does anyone really like Rachel Maddow?
Can I ask you, how is that not Jon Stewart in drag? Has flummoxed me for years now. I can't look at her without seeing Jon Stewart in drag.
I always thought it was Chris Hayes, because they look both androgynous and they can be. I don't know. I own a book by Rachel Maddow. Just full disclosure. Yes, definitely a recovering moron. So that does exist. Just full disclosure. But yeah, she's awful. So that's the correct reaction.
Hell yeah.
There's a lot to unpack with Maddow. You guys have seen her old photos, like here, right? Like, you think to yourself that, if she hadn't gone the way that she did, like, was there a chance that there's something salvageable there, or you think that it's all just spoiled milk?
No, look at Alyssa Mercante. At one point, she was your average, millennial college girl, and then she found intersectional feminism, and now she's a blight on humanity. What happened,
That seems to be a lot of people.
Went the same way. I mean, look what happened to the darling little girl, Gavin Newsom. Like, she was just a wonderful little teenage girl, and then she found intersectional feminism and became the governor of California and burned down half the state. It's
True.
Was it Gavin Newsom's wife, the one that maybe slept with Idris Elba? Or was that the Canadian Prime Minister? I get them mixed up.
Gavin Newsom's wife slept with Harvey Weinstein.
Oh, okay, yeah, the other one. Okay, so yeah, that one must have been the Canadian.
Justin Trudeau's wife got around like shit out.
Yeah. I get my degenerates mixed up with one another time to time. Neozoics here was saying howdy to everyone here. Got a couple of questions for us. It says, which film would you rather watch the former of? Would you rather watch Taxi Driver or The Good Joker? Let's just call it The Good Joker because we're not acknowledging the other one that came out.
I mean, come on. Do we really need to ask this question, guys?
Yeah,
I mean, first of all, Taxi Driver's one of my favorite films of all time. And Joker is a pastiche of Taxi Driver. I mean, it's like, you know what I mean? It's like baby's first attempt at making a movie I like by Todd Phillips. But no, that's fine. Do you like Joker? It's just Taxi Driver is like, a excellent film by comparison. So that's I would just throw that out there.
Cider.
Oh, I guess the Taxi Driver one. Joaquin's Phoenix is just a little much for me. Just his face is really a lot in that movie. I'm too distracted by his face. Like it's crazy. He's like trying to Willem Dafoe as hard as he can in that movie, and he just looks like a witch. You're like Worm Tongue in Lord of the Rings. I just can't. I can't absorb the mental health crisis because I'm thinking of all these different characters. So taxi driver, I can relate to because I used to be a taxi driver for my family's company. It's where the main taxi driver stories came from, and that the taxi driver story is absolutely nothing like driving taxi in real life. But it's a fun story about how you can slip into psychosis if you're just left on your own.
Right.
So it's not like Taxi Cab Confessions, that old HBO show.
It's not actually. It's not actually too far off. It's just like you're a rolling therapy office. You're not like, people don't tell you their dark secrets just because they want to. They want you to fix them.
And I mean, there's a few examples here, but Taxi Driver was like the school shooter movie before school shootings were a common thing. So that's. I mean, you had Targets that came out in the late '60s. Like Boris Karloff was in that at the end of his career, but. And that's a good movie, but you kind of see the idea for that. But I mean, I think that was more related to Charles Whitman, who was a former Marine, who just climbed the clock tower in University of Texas and started shooting people. So, there you go.
There was a lot of Vietnam soldier paranoia at that time. Good Will Hunting was another one that pissed off the Vietnam veterans a lot.
TW. Then Eddie, who would you go with here?
Oh, Taxi Driver. Easily Taxi Driver. It's not even close.
Eddie,
I recently... Nah. I didn't even bother to watch that movie. I recently, over the past couple years, watched Taxi Driver, and I always wondered, how did I not see this film?
Eddie, what do you got?
I would probably take Joker. Actually, just because I kind of related more to Joker than I did Taxi Driver. But I like Taxi Driver a lot. And again, like between these two movies, it's a great pair of movies, right? But the one that would actually like be right in the middle for me right there would be Nightcrawler with Jake Gyllenhaal, which has the same kind of vibe, has the same kind of, out of left field, psychosis kind of a thing. He's driving all the time, all that stuff. But I don't know. Just because it's related to television, I think I probably go with it a little bit more. But I do like Joker a little bit more than Taxi Driver.
I do like Nightcrawler. It's another one I own. I will say this: there's no character arc. He is evil throughout the entire movie, whereas Travis, you really don't know. Even at the end of the movie, you don't know. And that ambiguity is almost freakier. But I do like Nightcrawler as well. Jake Gyllenhaal played an absolute freak in that.
Great movie.
Yeah, like I said, I will have to go with Taxi Driver as far as that goes. And there was a Jake Gyllenhaal movie I was just thinking, it'll come back to me later, but we'll circle back around to that. Bonus question from Neozoic here says, what's your favorite Terrence Stamp film? Because I like to be a contrarian, I will go ahead and pick Elektra, because I'm pretty sure no one's going to pick that movie.
So I own two Terrence Stamp movies, and so I'll go with The Limey. It's directed by Steven Soderbergh. That came out in 1999. This English gentleman travels to Los Angeles because his daughter kind of was involved with some industry people, and she ends up dead. And he basically just starts threatening people, beating people up, just trying to get to the bottom of what happened. And it's Peter Fonda's in it. Has a really good cast. It's a good crime movie. But yeah, Terrence Stamp died, I think, last week. So rest in peace.
I'm going to have to go with Tu Wong Fu. Thanks for everything, Julie Newmar.
You mean where John Turturro is in drag?
Absolutely, yeah.
Bubbles.
And Wesley Snipes literally played the most flamboyant, next to Chris Tucker, the most flamboyant gay man I've ever seen in my life.
The saddest part about Terrence Stamp is the fact that his last film before he died was Last Night in Soho. That's probably the saddest part of this whole story.
That is sad.
Yeah, it's not a good movie. I had talked about a multitude of movies that were very questionable on last night's show. That was probably one I should have thrown in there too, but we can talk about that film on another day.
We need to bring back legendary actors having their last roles be VAs for being a VA for a legendary cartoon. Lawrence Wells.
Or just do Newman. Japanese cartoons or commercials or something. I don't know.
It needs to be a VA.
But then again, in the context of tonight's show, the one theme that threads all of these topics is a complete and utter lack of dignity. So there's something to go off of as well.
What's that?
You can Google it on your own time.
Yeah.
Leslie Tarkin's here. Obviously, Rob's in the chat. Vanya's here as well. Let me see who else we got here. Terminator Joe. Leslie says that it hurt that Lucas and Stamp had a falling out while Stamp was working on Phantom Menace. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me that the whole thing has now pretty much certified dumpster fire after all these years. I think we can say that. Beautiful says, what up, everyone? Who else do we got here tonight? Epic intro. Yeah, we went with the Eminem intro because obviously things are going to get a little heated here tonight. It says that like the Neo Geo game arcade cabinets. I think that's a question towards Cider. He can answer that one for you.
What's that?
Exactly. What else do we got here? Top Dog just joining us here as well. Actually, that's not even what I'm talking about. Well, I probably will end up dropping a couple of those words later on here too as well. So, what else we got here? Beautiful Joe, hate Grand Theft Auto 3. Does anyone ever really like Grand Theft Auto 3?
I do. Whatever.
I mean, honestly, out of the 3, I mean, it's a decent game, but out of the 3, it's easily the worst. But to be fair, that was them kind of getting started in the 3D era, so
it was all about that. It was all about that trailer. That trailer was amazing with the opera music and everything.
Sure.
Yeah, by the way, I think it was Terminator Joe is also here too as well. It's like, yeah, I mean, that seems to be the theme there. Top Dog with a completely random question. Who do you think is worse, LeBron James or Seth Rollins? As much as I hate LeBron James, at least he's actually talented. So
did you see
exactly?
Did you see that video of Caitlin Clark dunking on LeBron James? Bruh. Those flop graphics are amazing.
The NBA 2K videos. That's, by the way, that's where women's basketball belongs, in video games.
Yeah,
it's like that meme about Tim Tebow threw 6 touchdowns and then put his
well, those godforsaken lesbians in the WNBA just took out the hottest player in the entire league last night. Sophie Cunningham's now done for the season because a bunch of bitter ass lesbos just couldn't handle a straight white woman who looked better than them. So there goes the WNBA season. Way to go, guys! You human garbage. Real quick here, I do have the Rumble link here in the chat below. For whatever reason, this stream gets taken down here tonight. Just let you know that we will continue this one on Rumble. So just make sure that you guys have this link just in case things get a little wacky here tonight, because there's a multitude of things that might take us down for her tonight's show. But we're going to do it anyway because this is my show. And that's a theme that I want to hammer on throughout the course of this whole conversation here. Let's start off here, because this is honestly, with what we're going to be talking about tonight, probably the least heavy topic of the entire night, and that is this whole kerfuffle with the NFL and all these flaming homosexuals masquerading as male cheerleaders. We probably should have a conversation about this. So this has been a thing that's been happening, I mean, really honestly for the last few years now, but more teams are starting to buy into it at the moment, which is causing a lot more questions from, sports fans, NFL fans, football fans who... It's the same conversation we seem to have a lot when it comes to a lot of things like movies, television shows, wrestling. It's like, hey, remember when things used to be marketed towards the 18 to 34 male demographic? And then everything was good because that was the target demographic of the world. And then we decided, no, we need to update things for modern audiences. And then everything went to shit. It kind of feels like that's where we're taking here. Here's the New England Patriots. This is the first one that we'll talk about here. Introducing their new quote-unquote male cheerleader. I don't know if there's any copyrighted music here, but I'll just play the video. Because if I'm going to play copyrighted music, I'm going to play my own copyrighted music. This is Jeremy, the new mayor.
Wow.
He's wearing the latest trends from Logo Athletic and I don't think Logo Athletic exists anymore, and Reebok. Anyway.
Yeah, so that's just one of them. He's just one of them. The New
He's
England
a patriot.
There's some words I can think of, but it ends with an S.
Maricon.
Yes, thank you. That's a better way to say it. Maricon, El Cabral. Anyway, here's the other one that everyone's been talking about. These two right here. This is the new male cheerleaders, quote unquote, for the Minnesota Vikings. Now, in context of sports here, just for a second, I don't think the Minnesota Vikings get enough heat for losing 4 Super Bowls. Now, and everyone gives heat to the Bills, right? Because the Bills lost 4 in a row, and it was just a huge stain on their franchise. Minnesota Vikings also lost 4 Super Bowls, never won it at all, never come close to winning one. I think that we let them off the hook a little too easy when it comes to the situation. Why?
Because the Vikings lost all of theirs in the 70s. The Bills lost theirs in the 90s. It's just recency bias.
Yeah. Probably so.
Yeah.
Oh,
like I said, the fact that there was 4 in a row.
There's that Anderson kick that kind of just went off, and then there's like all those other ones. There's an entire compilation of like the Vikings announcer going, "No!"
Mm-hmm.
The NFC Championship game where they had the Randy Moss rookie year or whatever, where everybody thought they were going to the Super Bowl, and then Gary Anderson missed that kick.
Right. See, that's what I can't be angry at I can't be angry at the Vikings for this. I mean, this is like what happened. This is like
the 5th most embarrassing thing their franchise has ever done.
Right. This is like why Japan. This is like why Japan makes anime. You know, Nagasaki and Hiroshima, and then suddenly this. You know, that's what happens when you lose 4 Super Bowls.
And I will say this, because this will be a recurring theme for tonight's show. I know the internet and all the YouTubes and stuff like that has been talking about the topic of black fatigue over the course of the last few months. There is absolutely a gay fatigue in this country going on as well. And I would have to say that it's probably even worse than the black fatigue, because at least you're not being forced to pretend like it's all normal and acceptance and all. We'll go get into this here. This is the Minnesota Vikings' new male cheerleaders, and I use that term very loosely.
Wow.
Yeah. So there's an argument that's going to be used here in the course of tonight's episode, which we will talk about here as well. But yeah, just in case you think it couldn't possibly have gotten any gayer, like this are the introduction to the new male cheerleader era of the NFL. So keep in mind, wasn't the NFL the ones that came out not too long ago and said that the NFL is gay? Like, wasn't that like an unironic like ad that they ran?
Yes,
I mean,
yes, it was.
I have no idea. That I literally can't recall that in my memory, but I also I know they've been pushing for the social justice bullshit. Like every team has one of 6 slogans, you know, like stop hate or like what. It's just a bunch of these platitudes. It's corporate platitude. Like, we're with it. We care about what you care. No, you don't. And like all this, this is going on, but then all across corporate America, people are like, "Hey, they've stopped doing DEI stuff, and it's becoming a fascist takeover."
Guys, woke is dying.
You know what I mean? It's like it's just corporate bullshit. But yeah, I get it. It's stupid.
Here's the NFL is gay commercial.
Oh boy, yeah. Let's put this up real quick.
Is gay. What? Huh? What?
Mm-hmm. Men.
Queer.
What?
It's transgender.
Wait, what? Okay.
But this is too many things for football.
Hold on. If you've ever been in a football locker room, it is certainly not accepting. So I just want to point that out. Anybody, it is not.
You can argue that's been a big part of the problem.
Literally a pseudo militarized setting. It's not accepting of being like no. It's be the same, or you literally you get hazed.
That was real.
Locker room.
That was terrible.
That was a real thing that happened. And then the Carolina Panthers, they're another one who's been on this. Now they've hired, I don't know what the official LGBTQ title is for this individual, whether they want to be identified as transgender or just a very, very flaming homosexual man. But they put this person on the Carolina Panthers, who is a male cheerleader. And this is the photo that's been buzzing all around the internet.
Holy
now, I want you to understand this. If they are trying to present Justine as a woman, I just want you to see the size of that undercarriage there when they're trying to gaslight you into thinking that this is a woman.
It says 44. I can believe it. Holy
yeah, right? You guys ever seen The Longest Yard? You remember when the scene where Bill Goldberg's in the shower and everyone's talking about how big his dick is?
What the freak?
Yeah, so this is happening. This is a thing now. This is something else that we had. It was bad enough trying to get through all the Black Lives Matter stuff and the Kaepernick nonsense, and now we're dealing with this. So here comes another very, very polarized NFL season that we're all coming out. And then, of course, the bad takes are coming out in droves right now. Let's talk about our girl, Tommy Loren, who has to say something stupid because it is just her nature. She says, "I'm sorry, but I don't get the outrage over male cheerleaders. Who cares? At least they're not pretending to be girls." They're literally pretending to be girls.
They're prancing
It's
around.
not like
there, yeah.
collegiate male cheerleaders that are lifting them up and helping them do flips or helping. No, it's he's one of the girls, literally.
Yes.
Yeah. So here's the dishonest argument that comes from a lot of these people, just like Tommy Loren. Male cheerleaders are not a new thing. Oh, well, it's not necessary for conservatives to be absolutely outraged over absolutely everything. It's inconsequential. That's what she said.
We should be outraged over young men. That's what we should be outraged
Yeah,
over,
right.
Tommy?
Yeah, not manning up and taking women out.
Right.
Goddamn, taking for dinner.
They should be cheerleader dancing. That's how you meet girls.
Me and my successful girlfriends are still single. Where are the men stepping up to marry us? Remember that video that she released unironically?
In Manhattan.
Taylor, Tommy, whoever the fuck you are, they're doing cheerleader dances, honey. That's why they're not there to help you. Okay? That's why they're not dating you. They're busy learning routines. You notice that about their routines, though, with these guys. The male cheerleaders that she's talking about had a separate routine from the girls. They walked around with a machismo about them. They weren't waving their shoulders and hips around pretending they had brat's hair.
No, they were throwing women in the air like fucking cavemen used to do by their hair and everything.
Yeah, it was when you go watch that Bring It On movie, that is a really good like explanation of like who's gay and they're doing the gay routine, and who's straight in this equation and who's doing the straight routine. You can see it all right there.
I don't know if you guys know anything about the economics of being an NFL cheerleader. They're paid shit. They're paid minimum wage. They don't get benefits. They don't like it's a job to be seen, to be at the game, be seen in a, a lot of dudes are watching, just saying. Right. But no, it's not a good job. It doesn't last very long. You're a pretty face. You can dance and learn choreography. And you fill that role. But like, so this is virtue signaling. This is like, what is this for? I'm probably the biggest NFL fan that I know. I love the sport. But it's just I don't give a shit about cheerleaders, and B, I don't. You think you're going to attract like more like gay people to watch or more women, or they don't show these people on TV hardly. They don't. I mean, you might, when you go to the game, they might do like a halftime show if it's not like a specific like a band or a performer or something. But I don't know who this is. Just to quote Rick, I don't know who this is for. Who is this supposed to appeal to? I mean, it's supposed to say, hey, we're more accepting. We're more progressive than we used to be. Why? You're making a shitload of money. Even internationally, you're making a killing. Why would you try to endanger your brand by being like, hey, we have male gay cheerleaders that, it's like, okay, can we get back to football? Like, it's fucking 2 weeks from the regular season. Can we not distract from a very profitable product and this is the whole thing. This is and maybe I'm jumping ahead here, but this is globalization. This is like, you get so big, you spread yourself out too thin, and then you're a mirage of what you used to be, your shell. And so, and again, I know I'm kind of jumping the gun saying that, but it's like, can we not try so hard to appeal to everybody under the sun? It's okay. There's plenty of people out there who hate football,
guess what?
Traditional or masculine. That's fine. They can have their weird, freak parade. But that's, like what you like, but just, leave. You don't have to be in everything. You know what I'm saying?
I want to point out something here before we go to Cider. Terminator Joe, not only did she just recently talk about the pussification of men, like in the last 2 or 3 weeks, but then she goes in and basically defends this. I'm going to tell you why this is happening, and women are to blame for this, because I've talked about this a few weeks ago with pro wrestling, and now you're seeing a trend here leading into football as well. And what I'm saying here is that Every time any kind of industry tries to, quote unquote, bring in the women, we need more women in this male dominated space. We need to diversify things every time. This is what happens every single time. You let women in, they're bringing their gay best friend with them. Every single time, 10 out of 10. Now, I'm going to go ahead and get the cider here because I got a couple of a big point that Tommy made that I want to rebuke very strongly here. But yeah, as you see here, 30% of Gen Z now identify as some part of the rainbow community now?
Yep, and that's why they're doing this, is they're looking at that and they're like, oh, well, this is a cheat sheet of how to get all these Gen Z guys to like football. We'll just put a bunch of gay guys dancing in front of them, and they'll come in because they're gay. They like that, right? And everybody around the boardroom who's over 70 said, yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So I will point this out here, too. The counter argument that is extremely disingenuous that people like Tommy and her ilk have been barking out here the last several days is the whole thing of, oh, well, male cheerleaders have always been a thing. I don't know why you guys are acting like this is different now, because this is what male cheerleaders are. And this is the absolute disingenuous bullshit that we have to deal with these people, is that they're trying to conflate actual male cheerleaders who look like this or look like this here, and conflating them with the obviously clear flaming homosexual man who's going around there in pom-poms dancing around like a woman.
Right.
And they're trying to act like somehow we're too stupid to know the difference between what this is and basically whatever the hell this is right here. This is a nerd video someone stole away of this male cheerleader.
Holy fuck.
Yeah.
Look at
guys, there's no difference between what you're seeing here whatsoever. It's
these
all
guys
exactly
have been
the
around
same.
forever. What are you talking about?
Mm-hmm. They've always been a thing. Well, why are you guys so upset about it now?
Welcome to New MAGA, N-U M-A-G-A. This is the
it's
whole,
not so much being upset. It's just really off-putting.
But it's exactly what I said earlier, because this is something that we talked about a couple of weeks ago.
Though. Think about it. There's this gay guys parading around in front of your son. Mm-hmm. It's a pride parade every time they wheel out these guys now. It's not cheerleaders anymore. It's a pride parade. It's a demonstration. It's a political agenda being thrust in front of you as it waggles its hips and shoulders like it belongs there.
And an agenda being supported by women, because like I said, this is something we talked about. TW may remember this. Remember a few weeks ago you had the WWE Evolution pay-per-view that was here in Atlanta? And
yeah, exactly.
It was the all women's pay-per-view that they did here. And this is something that I've spoken about many times when talking about in the world of pro wrestling. If you guys recall, there was a little show called Total Divas back in 2014, I'm going to say a little over a decade ago. And essentially it was WWE's attempt to branch out and market their women's division and to collect more women by doing so, right? Now, they didn't actually branch out and find more women to watch the show. There's this misleading statistic out there that, well, if you look at WWE's fan base now, it's 40% women, where back in the day it was only like 30% or 20%. It was like, well, the reason why is because you actually lost an overwhelming majority of the people, which means in all reality you probably lost about 87% of men to make up that difference to now where women are actually 40% of the fan base that are barely even watching anymore, right? That's the one part of it. The other part of it is that around the same time they were trying to quote-unquote get the women, they also attracted a lot of gay men. And because gay men and women tend to essentially click up with one another quite often, what happened was that by introducing Total Divas to the E-entertainment audience, the same audience who were watching the Kardashians and stuff like that, that demographic, they also brought in a lot of the LGBTQ community in as well, which they have been primarily focusing their brand on for the last 10 years, the whole corporate women's evolution. And also, by the way, look at how many lesbians and gay people that we have that are part of wrestling as well. I showed you the photos a few weeks ago of the large group of very effeminate men who were part of the evolution, because it wasn't just, an event for the girls, because that's what the marketing was, right? It's an all women's event. No, it was an event for the gays and the girlies. And you see this in society time and time again. Whenever you let women in, whenever you try to market on women, guess what? When you bring them in, you're bringing in their gay best friend here too. This is why people like Tommy Loren are out there defending this, because like I said, she in her mind, she's thinking about her gay bestie too, and she doesn't want to feel like that she's essentially not an ally to that, even though she's supposed to be a white ring grifter talking about, oh, let me talk about all the liberals, blah blah blah, while I'm also rambasting about men 24/7 as well. This is exactly what happens every single time you do this. You've seen this now in video games. Guess how this whole thing in video games started 15 years ago? Hey, we need to make this more safe for men. And then the next thing you know, you're having sex with bears in video games. Like, this is always where the trajectory always goes. And like I said, you got to look at the usual suspects in this situation every single time. And it just, like I said, I think sorry, I just got a notification here that Rick actually joined us here. I don't know when StreamYard started that. First of all, Rick, don't say anything because you showed up here late, so we don't want to hear from you just yet. But no, you see this time and time again, and it's the same corporate playbook that is now plaguing the NFL. It's this every time we have something that is targeted towards men, and football in the grand scheme of things is a male dominated sport through and through. Whenever you get something that's targeted towards men and there's a large gathering of men, someone in some corporation thinks that, well, we got too many men watching this, how do we get in the women? And they start doing initiatives to bring the women in because we got to make it more women friendly. Well, then the women come in and it's a little too macho for them, it's a little too masculine for them. How do we clean up this image? And it's like, oh, I got an idea. Why don't we bring more effeminate men in here to make the women more comfortable? Well, when you bring in the effeminate men and the women, all of a sudden the men who actually started the fan base that you are essentially saying, hey, we got too many of you in the first place, they start going, what the hell is all of this? Why are we bringing all this crap in here? And then they start looking at you like you're the problem. Like somehow you haven't figured out they're trying to get rid of you. And that's essentially what the NFL and all these corporations have been doing. This is why Pride Month has been shoved into everyone's down everyone's throat. This is why every NBA team, every NHL team, every Major League Baseball team, with the exception of the Texas Rangers, have to have an LGBTQ Pride Night, because we have to show allegiance to the Pride people. Because if we don't show allegiance to the Pride people, then we're bad people by doing it. Like, I'm so sick of this. I'm so sick of playing this game and kowtowing to this other just trite. I'm done, and I'm not going to sit here and pretend like that, what we can plainly see with our own two eyes and our own two ears isn't what's actually going on anymore. I'm done playing the let's play dumb for the sake of getting along with people. Like, we need to stop this shit.
There's plenty of things, there's plenty of things where I don't see eye to eye with the average NFL fan. Like, but seeing what Bud Light did a couple years ago, and then see them basically have to take a step back. And then the NFL has slowly had these social justice initiatives, which I don't know if that's more about the NFL. I don't know if that's the Players Association, kind of pushing for more of a view on the matters that impact the communities that frankly most NFL players come from, or types of communities that most NFL players come from. And so I try to be as understanding as I can, but when you see this sort of pattern over time, and again, somebody that just wants to watch the football, just wants to enjoy the product, it's like, okay, this is getting in the way now. This is starting to creep in on the periphery, the edges, and it's like, okay, you're starting to alienate people, and and again, record profits, like whatever, but you're starting to push people away, and that's really, your product is so good that you can still kind of do these like needling political statements and just shut the fuck up. Just shut the fuck up. Learn from Major League Baseball. Learn from every single league out there. Just shut up. Just shut up and play football.
And this is the thing that bothers me here too. It's like, though, especially when it comes to the NFL, this league, the fan base were built upon the backs of people like us, people who actually watch football for many, many years, for many decades. Can remember going all the way back to, watching Super Bowl 30 and the Cowboys, I think it was the Steelers that they played that year, right? Growing up watching the NFL, seeing the different generations of players, knowing the different generations of players. By the way, has anyone seen that video of that Monica McNutt chick on ESPN who they brought some streamer on First Take? He was wearing a Barry Sanders jersey.
Oh, God.
And she's like, oh, you must have are making a reference to Shakur Sanders. She didn't even know who Barry Sanders was. right? But these are the choices that they're making here because they're trying to bring in a demographic that's not us, that's not you. And then when you point out exactly what they're doing, they always flip it back on you. Like somehow, no, you're the problem here. You're the bigot here. You're the one who's gone too extreme. You're the one trying like, no, you're the ones trying to ruin something that no one asked you to ruin in the first place.
Who's ever heard of Barry Sanders? You're the one on the wrong side of history.
Mm-hmm. Who did he ever beat?
And it's so funny too because I started watching. I think the first game I saw was Super Bowl 30. Was the Cowboys and Steelers Super Bowl, and Barry Sanders was a player that was like you couldn't believe he existed. You know what I mean? Like it's even before you learn who a great player, Jerry Rice or whatever. Barry Sanders was, and he was on a terrible team for his entire career, and he just decided he was done one day and just decided to walk away, probably before the end of his prime. But what he was able to do on the football field was literally like magic. And so to have somebody who works for ESPN, who has the privilege to work for an organization that at least used to give a shit about excellence in broadcasting and standards, to insult one of the greatest running backs to ever play the game, not to mention not understanding that Shadur Sanders has nothing to do with the Detroit Lions, is just beyond insulting, beyond annoying. And that's why ESPN is where it is. And yet they bought Red Zone. So now if you want to watch Red Zone, you pretty much have to subscribe to one of their fucking dumbass Disney Plus packages. So there you go.
And Monica McNutt will probably end up on some episode of Red Zone and ruin the entire thing because that's what Disney does.
A name like that, she's going to end up on OnlyFans.
McNutt, I know.
Yeah, right.
Like these cheerleaders.
They probably have far worse on the internet here. So I figured this episode's not getting monetized anyway. So I figured that, there's a lot of going on with Melanie Mack. Apparently she quit Twitter recently because of demons or some nonsense. Like, I don't know what the whole story was. It sounds stupid. So I figured that there's no way that this video is going to get monetized. So I figured if it's not going to get monetized, I might as well just go all in and make it an experience for all of us. So I'm going to go ahead and just play this. And then I can play this.
You know what
I love
am
Raining
sick
Man.
and tired of? Faggots. Can't post anything on social media because somebody's offended with some crayon flag in their bio. Faggots!
All right, for what it is, I like this version of Wednesday better.
2D pornography crap. Faggots! Can't even get an email. Because when you get an email from a business, a corporation, whatever, pronouns in the signature. Faggots! You got homos buying children. What kid wants 2 faggot daddies? Faggots!
That actually worked out a little better than I thought it would.
Absolutely soaking wet.
Yeah, that video actually worked out better than I thought it would. But no, that's essentially what you're seeing here. And you got dumbasses like Tommy Loren and a bunch of others who are trying to play I don't see what the big deal is here, Car, trying to gaslight you into thinking that somehow you're making a bigger deal out of this than you actually are. No, you're not. We're not going to let you fucking gaslight us. We know exactly what you're doing. Like I said, these aren't quote-unquote male cheerleaders. Guess what? Male cheerleaders actually have sex with the female cheerleaders. These are essentially women masquerading men masquerading as women. That's all you say. Essentially, what you're getting here is that you're getting Tracy Morgan in The Longest Yard, except for it's being presented to you ironically. Like, oh yeah, you're supposed to totally accept this as legit.
Yeah, I actually just got a football movie on Blu-ray called The Replacements, which I'm sure a few of you have seen with Keanu Reeves. I mean, the whole thing is like the cheerleaders are doing ridiculously lewd sexual activities. It doesn't really work if a guy's there. I'm just saying. Trying to be one of the girls. So, it's just and that's kind of is at the crux of this whole thing. Football is for men. Everything that's associated with football is generally for men or, geared towards that market. And who is this for? Maybe
what I wonder.
Back me up on that one, even though he's not.
I think Melanie gave you the answer.
Yeah. Well, see, that's the problem is generally gay dudes don't really like football. I mean, there's the outlier, there's the occasional guy, but it's not very common.
You would think they would. Exactly. You would think they would, considering the fact you got to reach between a man's legs in order to grab a pigskin. So,
yeah. This is a hot take, but Victoria's Secret is for women.
Yeah, exactly. Could be marketing more towards that.
That's wrong thinking, Cider. Wrong side of history.
I know it's a hot take, right? I'm gonna get canceled.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And crazy.
Well, this is only the beginning of what we're going to get canceled for.
It's Victor's secret.
Oh God, I know what scene you're gonna play.
Defense! Huddle up over there. Paul! Paul! Hey, ladies, how's it hanging? I'm gonna say something to him. I just wanted to let you know I'm your biggest fan, and I will be cheering my jailhouse boobies off for you at game day. I appreciate that. Thank you. Paul! I appreciate
See, when they make you wear a dress, you're still funny.
Okay, I'm glad to know that.
Okay, are you done now? Huh?
What's wrong with you? Jealous because I don't cheer for you anymore?
I don't know what you're talking about, freak show.
Whatever, back freckles.
Back freckles. You're making up shit now.
Go watch the movie on your own, talent people.
Oh, I've seen that movie.
The original's better with Burt Reynolds, but that's fine. Yep.
It's really weird that there's more black guys there than white guys in the gay guy kind of group. It really weirds me out every time I see that scene because I'm like, this.
Because let's be honest, if the scene was realistic, there'd be far more Puerto Ricans than black guys. If we're being honest with ourselves.
Oh, is that the thing that's going on? Okay, I don't know. We don't have those up here in Maine.
I don't want to know. Thanks.
I feel so lucky for Cider.
Well, we have like the gays pretty much like quarantined to one place. It's called Algonquin here in Maine, and they're just kind of like that's their gay Mayberry.
I thought you were talking about.
It's not Portland.
I thought you were.
No, believe it or not.
Okay, all right.
That's the druggy capital.
Oh.
Sorry, Eddie. What's that?
I thought you were quarantined to Puerto Ricans. That's what
we don't have those. We just flat. I don't know if we turn them away at the border or something. We just don't have them. Like I've never ever. I drove taxi. Never ever ran into a Puerto Rican. First time I ever met one was through a StreamYard link here through Comicsgate. That was the only. That was like it was Finatra was the first Puerto Rican that I ever like talked to and not just heard about. These things called Puerto Ricans. Tell me more.
Secret Americans.
Yeah, they don't really have their own culture. They just are here.
You know?
Yes, they really are.
Sorry, Kathy,
They don't have a culture. They're just here.
They blame all of us for it.
It's half Italian. It's fine.
Jeez, did it kill Tony in here all of a sudden?
Oh yeah, that's right.
I'm going there in September.
So I want to talk about this story here. I thought I was going to have Mongo on, but it was a little too late when I had got him on. But I do want to credit him for bringing us this story because he did a video about this earlier today. And for some of us here, we know Jim Cornette. Some people don't know Jim Cornette, so we're going to unpack this.
If you don't, that's a good thing.
We're going to unpack this the best way we can so for normies can understand this here. Jim Cornette is the textbook definition of a shithead. Like, this is... If you look at, like, Hicklib in the dictionary, you're going to find a picture of Jim Cornette. Cornette has probably done and said more racist shit in his life than anyone that you could possibly imagine. Probably more than David Duke himself. But for some reason, he's also an uber extreme left-wing liberal. It makes no sense whatsoever that a person like him can exist in real life, but he does. And yes, for Rob, who obviously knows him as tennis racket guy. That's exactly what he is.
He is the white Uncle Ruckus.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's just a racist, Eddie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's
No, he's a Kentucky racist. There's a big.
Oh, those are special, are they? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Jim Cornette, over the last several years, has basically spent his time doing YouTube videos and talking about wrestling and crapping on AEW and the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega and stuff like that. So, I mean, put it to you this way. I'm not going to sit here and say that Jim Cornette is not entertaining. He is. Obviously, if he wasn't entertaining, he wouldn't have been in the business as long as he has been, right? But with that said, his political takes are absolute dog water. And Jim Cornette represents everything wrong with the American left, not just in this country, but all around the world. If you guys heard over the course of the last couple of days, this is a situation that happened between him and his, I guess, YouTube thumbnail artist, Travis Heckler is his name here. So essentially, this guy has been doing a thumbnail for art for Jim for years. They've known each other for 10 years. This is not like some guy he got off of like Fiverr or something like that who did his YouTube thumbnails, and all of a sudden it was like, oh, he said something that I don't approve of, I'm gonna get rid of this guy. He's known this guy for a decade, right? But this is the mindset of people like Jim Cornette. Essentially what happened was that Travis, when he's not working doing thumbnails for Jim Cornette, he posts his own opinions on his own Twitter page that is in no way, shape, or form connected to the show at all. It's his own personal Twitter page. And people who follow Jim Cornette, who are in that bubble, went and basically snitched on Travis to Cornette, being like, hey, your guy is over here saying things about Biden. You might want to look into it, right? That's literally what happened. And he talks about it in the video. It's like a 40-minute video. We're not going to play the whole thing, which is kind of like very small bits and pieces of it. But essentially what he says is that Jim got so upset and so pissed off about the things that he saw on there because he saw Travis attacking Joe Biden. He saw him denying climate change, which, oh God, don't do anything like that, right? Going after Sami Zayn, calling him a sellout communist, which, to be fair, he is. I mean, I don't see what's the big deal about that. I mean, he, by his own admission, the dude's a communist, and other things like that. So essentially, Jim Cornette got upset because this individual who does his YouTube thumbnails, he's basically an artist for him, had some opinions that he didn't like. And pissed him off, said by his own admission that he wanted to fight this guy, by the way, a guy he's known for 10 years. Good luck with that one. But he decided to do the bitch thing, which is to go behind his back and be like, hey, Brian Last, why don't you tell our thumbnail artist Travis, don't post any more wacky, wild stuff on Twitter anymore. And then that's what Brian did because he's a lackey. So he communicated with Travis, even though Jim, by his own admission in the video that he's talking about, has Travis's number. So if he had a problem with him, he could have literally texted him or called him directly, but he was so infuriated by what he said he didn't want to do this, and then basically told Travis, yeah, don't post stuff like that on your Twitter page anymore. So Travis sat back for like a day and basically decided, yeah, no, I'm not going to do that. So I'm done doing thumbnails for you. Posted on his own Twitter page like, hey, guess what? I'm not doing any thumbnails for Jim Cornette anymore. No heat. It was a great opportunity, but basically saying you're not going to tell me what to do or what to say or what to think. And that's what led to Jim making this entire video here. Now, the reason why we're talking about this here is two reasons. One, like I said, this is a complete mirror of the way that leftists act, with how they have acted over the last 10 years or so, 10 plus years at this point, especially when it relates to anything revolving Donald Trump or just the Democrat Party in general, right? And this is why I've said so many times recently over the last few weeks, I feel like this is just 2016 all over again, because what was going on 10 years ago when we were first doing this whole stupid go around, you had a bunch of liberals who had basically convinced themselves that Donald Trump is the walking, living embodiment of Hitler, and that anyone who supports him is a horrible person. So if I find that this is their mindset, if I find out that you support Trump in any way, shape, or form, you're basically dead to me, right? And this is something that some of us directly have experienced time and time again with left-wing friends who we used to consider friends, who we used to thought we had good relationships with, but the second that they found out that family members too, but the second that they found out that our politics don't match their politics, it's like, you're dead to me, I want nothing to do with you, get out of here, whatnot. I give Travis credit for the fact that he said that, no, you're not going to tell me what to do or how to think. If this is how we have to end our business relationship because you can't handle the things that I feel or I say, then fine, let's just amicably split it here. Let's not make any drama out of it and just go our own separate ways. How does Jim respond? He makes a 40-minute video based off of a 100-word tweet that basically says that, hey guys, I'm out of here. See you guys later. Good luck. And then that's essentially what we got here. I've had friends, many friends, and this is why I don't want to hear this BS argument about, oh no, this happens on both sides. No, it does not. I've had friends in San Diego who, I used to organize events in San Diego all around like the North Park area, downtown, all over people. I knew a whole bunch of people. About the time we got to the 2016 election, everyone was all like, they were mostly Bernie bros. I mean, it was that group, right? But when Bernie made it very clear that he was going to be on his way out, it was Hillary or Trump. And I basically said, I'm not voting for Hillary. I don't care. I may not vote for Trump, and I'm not voting for Hillary. And people took that to essentially akin of basically Nazi betrayal. Like, how dare you not support us in defeating the Orange Man? And I was like, no, I'm sorry, you're not going to guilt me into siding with you on this one. So guess what? Those people who I thought were friends completely cut me out of their life just on a dime. And I've seen this happen to so many people over the course of 10 years, which is why I'm not even entertaining this argument that it happens on both sides, because it does not. This is something primarily with the left. You guys have this mindset that if someone does not think in the exact same way, if you guys don't have the same mindset, doesn't matter if they're family, doesn't matter if they're friends, doesn't matter if someone you've known for 30 years, you will cut that person out of your life on a dime over stuff specifically like this. By the way, this is not the first person Jim Cornette has done this for. He's known Kane for well over 30 years. He doesn't speak to Kane anymore. Why? Because he's a Republican in the state of Tennessee, so he can't support his politics, so he cut Glenn off by his own admission. He doesn't speak to Taker anymore because Taker has views that he doesn't approve of. There's other people that Jim Cornette has known. Chris Jericho is another guy. Cornette used to love Jericho. If you guys know the infamous drive-through video, which started the whole Cornette drive-through, Jericho was in the back of the car during that whole incident. He's known this guy for years, but when Jericho started leaning a little more towards Trump several years ago, all of a sudden Jericho's this horrible person. He's MAGA. I don't need to associate him with anymore. And now he's doing it again with a person that supposedly was his friend for the last 10 years, but because he came out publicly and said that, oh yeah, I think Joe Biden's a pedophile, can't be friends with you anymore, that's weirdo stuff. You don't support climate change, can't support you anymore. Keep in mind, this is the same guy who every day on his platform calls Trump a Nazi, calls Trump a bigot, calls Trump a pedophile too, because keep in mind, everyone loves talking about the Epstein stuff now after 6 years, and now they're using that line here too. All of a sudden. So it's okay when you can call Trump a pedophile, but if you do it to Biden, all of a sudden you've gone a little bit too far. And the one thing that irritated the shit out of me about this video, and I might play it here in just a bit, is that he was like, oh, I want you guys to understand, it's not because, he has certain opinions. Like, we can make reasonable complaints about Joe Biden. It's like, Joe Biden, does he have dementia? It's like, yeah, okay. They covered it up because they were trying to save the world. It's like, fuck you, Jim Cornette. You absolute dirtbag. You guys are the same people who, let's rewind like 3 years. If you said Joe Biden had dementia back in 2023, where he clearly did, you think any of those people would have taken that as a reasonable argument against Joe Biden? No, it only got to a point where Joe Biden's mental decline was so bad, you couldn't even run him in the 2024 election because of how bad his mental decline had gotten. Basically, you got caught in a lie so badly that you couldn't even stand on the lie anymore once it got exposed to the entire world just how bad he was. And like I said, there's a whole lot to unpack here with this one. Eddie, I'm going to start... Eddie, I'm gonna start here with you because, like I said, you know Cornette I don't know him like you guys go back in the day, but you know who Cornette is. You know his style. You know that this is the type of person that he is. What is your thought here on his falling out with his thumbnail artist over opinions about the Democrats? By the way, by his own admission, his friend is apparently libertarian, so he probably hates both sides equally. But because he's calling out the Democrats, this is where he crossed the line. Be like, nope, can't be associated with you anymore.
Now, see, that's probably the worst thing about it is that, like, you would never expect Jim Cornette to be that, considering the fact how racist and how sexist he is.
What a surprise!
I mean, listen, I like Cornette. I like him. He's one of those knowledgeable people in about wrestling you'll ever meet, ever talk to, ever whatever. I met him once or twice. I have a problem with him. With it comes to all this. Travis, I feel sorry for because Travis did nothing wrong here. All he did was tweet some things. And I heard the interview, and the whole interview really is just him trying to pad his way through all of this. And yeah, he was gonna I totally believe that if he found Travis that night, he probably would have went and tried to strangle him and try to beat him up or whatever. Because that's how corny is. So
yeah. Great moral guy.
I mean, Corny is known for going out of his way to beat people up because they paid him wrong or they looked at him wrong or whatever. He'll come up with a reason. He just has that kind of anger issues, I guess. But, the worst thing about this whole thing for me is that like I feel sorry for Travis is because you could tell Travis didn't want to do any of this. He wanted to probably keep this as secret as possible because Jim Cornette has openly said on his podcast, if you associate with me and you have any association with Trump, don't listen to me, don't pay attention, don't do anything with me. I want nothing to do with you. And here's one of his best friends who's trying to get a job with him, right? And here, I'm never going to talk to you again. And of course, he's going to keep it a secret for a long time. He doesn't want to tell anybody that, especially his best friend that, oh crap, my best friend thinks I'm a fucking psychopath because I happen to agree with Trump on some things. So, yeah, it's a terrible thing. And Jimmy and Brian are a bit they're half-assing a lot of this, and it's terrible. But I can't hate Jimmy because I know Jimmy is the most knowledgeable. Again, you're never going to find a more knowledgeable person. And that's what I hate is him, Punk, Danielson, all these guys who I love, like genuinely love, right? Have a genuine love for because of what have you. Every one of them are just like this. Every one of them are, I will cut you off if you disagree with me. I will cut you off if you have something different from me. I will cut you off for any reason whatsoever. And I don't know where that comes from. Maybe it's a WWE thing or a wrestling thing, but back in the day, I don't remember that being a wrestling thing necessarily, unless you were Bret Hart.
I wish that I can just say that it's a wrestling thing, but like I said, it's a left-wing thing because, like I said, they're not the only, it's time and time again, leftists have this pride and delusion that somehow they own the moral high ground on every single political issue that exists. So when you oppose them on politics from their mindset, I'm a good person because I support insert all this stuff here. So if you oppose me, that means that you're a bad person and I don't want to be associated with bad people because you oppose me on insert things here. So that's why they're so... They're, like I said, they have no problem with just completely cutting you off if you step on any opposite side of them. Like I said, all of these guys are dirtbags. Like CM Punk is another one, and with him, he's just a general dirtbag because he's basically thrown people under the bus that he's considered to be friends on issues that having nothing to do with politics whatsoever. But if you give him that out of politics, then he'll justify all day in his head, right? And you have a lot of people like this in the industry. I wrote an article from Bounding about 3 years ago, and it was about when the whole Roe versus Wade thing happened. And Kane, who's obviously Mayor Glenn Jacobs in Tennessee, basically put out a tweet supporting the overturning of Roe versus Wade. All of these former wrestlers who he knew personally in the WWE at the time or who worked for WWE at the time came out to publicly trash him about what a garbage person he was because he was happy that essentially the issue of abortion got turned back on to the states. Everyone publicly came out talking about what a terrible guy he was, and I can't believe you support something like this, and all this horrible things. It's like, this guy. Like, he's literally a guy that, unlike, us, we can't sit here and call Jim Cornette on the phone. You can literally pick up a phone and call Kane. That's how well you know him, yet you're going to publicly throw him under the bus over an issue like Roe versus Wade because you guys are mad that you may not get abortions on demand anymore. And somehow you guys think you have the moral high ground on this argument. And like I said, this happens time and time and time again. And guess what? They all have the exact same political opinions. Every single one of them.
I mean, sorry, go ahead, Cider.
Yeah, go ahead, Cider.
Man. Okay, well, I have like really super personal experience with this. So, I was internet dating a girl. We had met when we were teenagers, and it kind of evolved over the years. Her name was Jashay. She was a black gal, and nice gal out in Arizona. And I had plans to, go and see her and have, life together maybe. And one day I just got a message from her. Like I was just hanging out doing lawn work, and I got a message that said, "We can't do this anymore. You support Trump." And at all platforms, every method of communication I had with her, even the old Yahoo Instant Messenger account, blocked on every front. Couldn't get a hold of her, nothing. It was over with, just like that. I'd known her for almost 10 years at that point. We talked about everything. I'd seen every corner of that woman through a webcam. But for whatever reason, now was the time that we couldn't communicate anymore. Now I was an embarrassment.
Yeah. Now, like I said, we've all dealt with this either personally or know someone who has dealt with this whole thing personally. Like I said, people who I thought were friends, at a drop of a dime, oh, you don't support our war against the Trump zeitgeist. Oh, sorry, we can't associate with you anymore. Well, we got to cut you off. Because no, we don't need people like you around anymore. We don't need people like you passing off your opinions to us. That's not approved over here. And that's kind of the thing. Like I said, I actually respect Travis a lot in the sense that basically he was told by Jim Cornette, who thought that somehow he had an authority over what he can say on his own personal time, saying that no, I don't want people with your opinions associated with my show. So it's either your opinions or my show. And basically what Travis said is like, okay, see you later. Bye. Right. I guess I'll choose my opinions over whatever the fuck you were paying me for these bullshit ass thumbnails.
And at the risk of reducing this to something that pisses someone off here, but because someone might be political or whatever, but all politics has ever been to me is really geared up sports teams. You don't like the Lions, you're my enemy. You don't like the Dolphins, right. That's to me what it equates to. Now, you can believe whatever you want to believe. And whatever the government does, that has nothing to do with you. You voted for a candidate. You hoped for the best. Sometimes it works out. Most of the times it doesn't, regardless who you vote for. I mean, all of us who voted for Obama, did we really get what we wanted? Did we really get some great change? No, we got fucked in the ass. I mean, literally, that's what we're talking about here. This has nothing to do with who you are as a human being. Absolutely nothing. And that's what matters. The connections you make, the times you have, the things you share, the human moments. That's what matters. And all of this internet bullshit, all this tribalism, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. It's how, who are you as a person? How do you think people should be treated? It's like, majority of us believe in the same things. You know what I mean? And we're arguing over platitudes. We're arguing over how a politician phrases something. It's meaningless fucking bullshit. And people end relationships. They end jobs. They end, whatever communication because you vote for blue team and I vote for red team. What the fuck is wrong with you? You know what I mean? Like, it makes me want to honestly question where people are coming from. And the left, look, just in general, embodies like enlightenment and free thinking and nuance and all this shit that is nowhere to be found when you just have a slight disagreement on policy or even ideology. And it's just like, that's just not how I see the world. It's just not how and it's like, I should be allowed to do that. And we should be able to remain friends. We should be able to maintain a relationship because it has nothing to do with what our relationship is built on. And again, I'm being very general here, but it's just like that. What happened to people? Did you lose focus of what mattered, of what was important? Because there's all these people on the internet that do this day in, day out.
They attach morality to their political opinion. That's what happened. And this is why we're in this situation. Rick, I know you're still there. You can speak now. What's your thoughts on the story?
Oh, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. For someone who always gets blamed for lengthening the show, you really have a hard time letting me say anything.
You're now making the show longer. Like right at this very moment is where I'm drawing the line.
Go ahead. Okay. Real quick.
Is there flying cars yet?
It's pretty much what you said, Jacob, and I've been thinking the same thing. The people who cut you off because of your political views or because you voted for a certain candidate, they have this very curious sense of moral and intellectual superiority, as in we are better. We are better because we did not support Trump, or we're better because we did not vote this way, or what have you. I like Rob, I don't understand that. I'm capable of being friends with people who disagree. I mean, I have a friend who's a communist, a literal communist, and I'm fine with that. She's fine with me. I think it's because we're probably old enough and hopefully mature enough to understand, yes, you're free to disagree. And as for this person, I'm a little torn because he's perfectly free to let this thumbnail artist go if that is his wish, but he doesn't have the right to say you have to post these things that I agree with. And just for the record, yes, Biden was out of it. I don't know. Only the most crazed um, never Trumper seemed to think that he was, lucid, full of vim and vigor, running staffers young enough to be his grandchildren ragged. That was just idiotic. But you don't I don't want to cut off anyone because they disagree with me. And if you're friends, I've been cut off. I actually, now think about it, I have been cut off by people. So far, no one in my family has cut me off because at least all of us are still sensible enough to go past that and understand, hey, family is much more important. But for the record, since I've never voted for Trump, I guess I'm kind of safe, and I've never supported him. But some of the things that my relatives post.
But Rick, you didn't vote for the blue, so you're part of the problem.
Rick's on the wrong side of history.
Because we've seen that too, where if you voted third party or if you didn't vote, you're just as bad. It's like, you people are fucking insane. Seriously.
Damn you, Ralph Nader.
That is true. I did vote Libertarian in this last election, and I wrote in 2016. I wrote in that McMuffin.
To this day, there are liberals who are upset at Ralph Nader because they think that he cost them the 2000 election. Like, get the fuck over yourself. Seriously.
Well, no, I mean, Al Gore still thinks he won. I mean, if you ever saw that Inconvenient sequel, he spent like the first 20 minutes of that documentary going on about the 2000 election, and I want to say
there's that HBO movie called Recount, which is kind of about that a little bit, but yeah.
I mean, you need to get over it at a certain point. It's an embarrassment.
TW, you got anything to add to this conversation here?
Honestly, Jim Cornette has always been someone that I've always, as long as I've known about wrestling or that I've heard of wrestling, he's always been an idiot. He's always been a psychopath. Just someone that's just plain out of his mind. And the fact that he acts like the way that he does over something as simple as this, it doesn't surprise me, especially when it comes to politics or anything like that. And when it comes to politics, I don't have a side. I don't have a side at all. I don't care about.
How dare you not have a side?
Right. like honestly,
you're on the wrong side of history. You're on the wrong side of history.
You bet I am. Like, I always thought, Biden pretty much completely screwed us all. Trump, at least the positive thing about Trump is that he's entertaining. But, other than that, no, I've never voted a day in my life. I don't think I ever plan to, because it's one of those things that it just really seems kind of pointless.
Yes, correct.
But
local elections, I think you should vote.
No, they don't. They're irrelevant.
Local elections.
It has 30% turnout. Nobody matter. No, it doesn't matter. Okay, it doesn't.
It really doesn't.
You gotta vote.
But we need to also remember. We also need to remember that you need to stop voting against your own interests. That's what my commie friend always tells me. When it's like, no, I'm not going to vote for like Beto or someone like that. Stop voting against your own interests.
Okay. You don't want me to vote for my interests.
My first election was 2008.
I love that.
For Obama. 2012, I voted for Obama. 2016, I did not vote. 2020, I voted for Trump. And 2024, I voted for Trump. So if that doesn't tell you just how quickly my life has gone from, okay, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, and I'm going to vote for my interests. Because at the end of the day, it's like, I'm an individual. I'm not a group of people. I'm not, a collective. And so as much as Republicans, have their heads shoved up their ass half the time and keep adding to the debt, at least they advocate for policies that hopefully will help me as an individual. But then again, my taxes are still.
I think we need to, any person who wants to blame, for having Trump again, blame Rob and blame Sider, because Rob personally swung Pennsylvania for Trump, and Sider's random Maine electoral vote also added to that. So
Okay,
it's their
opposed to
fault.
voting in Washington State, the state that literally had no gain for Trump in 2024. It was the only state that did not improve his performance over the previous election. So, it's like, no, that just was never going to happen or make a difference.
Well, had he gone and dressed up like Kurt Cobain, and walked around town, put on a flannel shirt and carried a guitar around, he probably would have done better there. It's just
it's funny that I literally lived in, like, Kurt Cobain's from, I think, I'm gonna fuck this up, Aberdeen. It's Aberdeen and Hoquiam, which is just by Olympia.
It is.
So it's kind of funny that you mentioned that, because he at least wrote a few songs in Olympia on Nevermind. So that's a little local claim to fame.
Well, no, like every 90s grunge garage band seemed to come out of Washington State. So like you throw it at a dartboard, you're going to hit one of them.
Yep.
Well, you see, this is why Gavin Newsom's going to win, because he looks great, and he's awesome.
President Patrick Bateman, yes.
Yeah.
You get these people in these emotionally unstable echo chambers where they don't even understand the words that are coming out of their mouth because they're just speaking purely on emotion with no logic and thinking whatsoever. I found this to be absolutely hilarious. Is Jim Cornette talking about the people who he's had to cut off in his life because they're a part of, quote unquote, the cult. And then he goes on to describe the cult. And he's literally describing the exact same thing he just told people that he was doing about 2 minutes earlier.
By the way, he has an internet thing called the Cult of Cornette. So
yeah, exactly right.
I've heard it, and I've had emails right along every once in a while. I don't understand what it is, Jim. I've had to stop speaking to my best friend or member of my family, or you can't talk to him anymore. I don't know what it is about a fat man wearing orange makeup that's an obvious grifter and con man, and a series of lying stooges around him.
That's part of it, but the bigger issue is it's beyond just Trump. It's beyond
the news dissemination.
It's flat earth kind of shit. It's like...
But it's the news dissemination about that these people can somehow be made, can be built by Jack Pfeffer, this band of freaks, a fat grifting con man, a criminal family, and a bunch of lunatic plastic surgery victims all around him. A news network can take that and make this goddamn cult to the point where people they'll leave their jobs, or they'll not speak to family members, or unfortunately want to speak to family members. The family members can't speak to them.
I've never known anyone to leave their job because
right.
He literally started off the whole rant talking about the people who he had to stop associating with, both in his personal life and his professional life, and then goes on to talk about, well, here are these people in these cults. They get so caught up in the cult, they start cutting off their family members and their friends. Like you did, Jim. Like you like it was less than 2 minutes ago. You just said it.
But it's not Jim Jones. He's not. There's no Kool-Aid drinking. I don't.
So there's this thing in pro wrestling, okay, where, and I like watching, there's a guy on YouTube, his name is Darkside Phil. He has this kind of the same kind of thing going. It's like the most basic way of looking at it, but this is something this has been going on in pro wrestling forever.
DSP
does this, okay? I'm going to explain what pignosis is.
Okay.
So
please.
So what happens is that you start believing something so much that you have to have other people believe it with you. And so you just start over exaggerating every single thing that happens to the point where everyone starts to believe everything you're saying, because if you just stop believing in the lie, then it all crumbles for all of you, not just the guy telling the lie.
That's something like confirmation bias.
Almost.
Where you will find something that will prove your point.
Right. Now, see, in pro wrestling, right, and this is where Jim's coming from, because he's trying to make the whole thing, but he used to do the same thing. Paul Heyman used to do the same thing. Rob Black used to do the same thing. Ian Rotten is the worst one of all of them. they tell you, listen, you have to do this for me, because if you don't do this for me, then everything's going to fall apart. And you're the only one that can do this for me. And then if you don't follow everything that I do because of it, then it's all gonna crumble and everything else. And that's what Jim Cornette kind of has, or tried to kind of have, over Travis. That's what a lot of pro wrestling promoters try to do, is they put the entire promotion on your shoulders so that they can just collect whatever that comes in. And if it falls apart, it's because you were the problem. ECW guys were banging their heads, destroying their bodies, and giving themselves CTE. New Jack fell off the top of a fucking thing and took out his eyeball, right? And it's because Paul Heyman told him, listen, if you don't go out there and you don't do this, then it's not going to work the way it's supposed to work. You just get so hyped in the raw area of it that you just accept everything that this person is saying, even if it's a detriment to you. And that's what I think Travis was starting to go through. And that's what a lot of these people go through. It's a thing in pro wrestling in particular. But you just start getting this like thing where you're just in a trance almost. And that's why it's called the cult of Cornette. Because if you don't follow what Cornette says.
Eddie, it sounds a bit like Stockholm syndrome. Like,
yeah.
When you're holding hostage, and you start sympathizing with the people holding you prisoner.
Absolutely. And you do.
Arnold and Elvis. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but but it's you. I don't know. I don't want to say I feel sorry for these people, these wrestlers, but it's just.
I'm not saying to feel sorry for him either. I'm just saying this is the mentality, and when you're dealing with upper class wrestlers, it works on upper class level. That's how Triple H is able to control all of these dummies into doing all of this other stuff, because there's no way.
Well, of course.
You mean like making
stupid business? You mean like
making Stephanie McMahon take a pay cut in order to go to WWE because it's her dream?
Right. That's what you do. You fucking make people stupid, and they'll say yes to anything. Yeah, put a title on me. I'll gladly not take $5,000 a week.
And this is the key difference here between the left and the right, because I don't have to like your politics to to respect the person. Kevin Nash is, like I said, he describes himself as a Reagan Democrat, but he has some pretty awful lefty takes time and time again. With that said, Kevin Nash, when it comes to the wrestling business, is probably the smartest man who has ever been a part of the wrestling business at any point in his iteration.
Exactly. I was just about to say that.
Because he took one notion to the heart and made that the entire mantra of his career. The only thing that's real about the wrestling business is the money. That's it. That's all he's ever cared about. Now, like I said, you have wrestlers now who are rejecting 6-figure deals with other companies because, no, I want to go to WWE because it was my dream when I was watching Chris Benoit matches back in 2006. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like,
yeah, well,
what?
Unfortunately, the WWE that you watched is not the same WWE now.
So here's what's going to happen. You're going to take a lowball offer because WWE is your dream. So here's a 5-year contract that's lowball. And you're going to sit there. You're 31, by the way. So by the time it's for you to re-up, now that you've made a little bit of notoriety, WWE is going to go, okay, here's your new contract. And guess what? Your new contract is basically what they were going to offer you, or probably should have offered you, the match, the contract you rejected in the first place. You signed that contract for 5 years. So now you're back to where you could have made 5 years earlier, but you rejected. So now you fast forward another 5 years. You're 41 now. And now WWE goes, yeah, I don't think you're worth paying any more money after that, so we're just going to have to let you go. Good luck in New Japan.
They're never keeping.
Why does this employer think that he has the right to tell someone that's working, and I presume freelance, that what you can or cannot post?
Because he's the booker. He's the promoter. He's the controller of everything. He's the one.
I meant with this particular case.
Because there's, like I said earlier, there's unearned moral high ground and unearned ego with the left. Jim Cornette somehow thought that he was in any position whatsoever to tell his friend, be like, no, you're not allowed to have these opinions while you're working for my platform. So like he said, it's the platform or it's your opinion. And that guy basically said, no, go F yourself. You're not going to tell me what to do, because let's put it to you honestly. he doesn't. Cornette is like, oh, you can't be out here sharing all these lies about Joe Biden while he spends all his time spending lies about Donald Trump every single day. But no one's there to check him because, hey, it's his platform. He can do whatever you want. Guess what? You can do whatever you want. And guess what? Older people have the ability to tell you, yeah, you know what? Go fuck yourself. You're not going to control me, especially here in 2025. You're not going to sit here and be like, oh, you can't have this. Like you're somehow like the minister of truth, somehow the king of misinformation over here. It's like, no, we're not doing this, especially after everything that we've gone through in this country over the last 10 years. I haven't forgotten about what you guys said about COVID. I haven't forgotten about what you guys said about the vaccines. I haven't forgotten everything that you guys said about the war, the border, all of this crap. So you're feel free to sit there and be in that little bubble, that little echo chamber that you built for yourself, and think that somehow by supporting gay cheerleaders in the NFL, that makes you a good person, and that somehow you're morally superior to everyone else. Jim, go fuck a duck. That's all I have to say to you very clearly.
I'm puzzled as to why Joe Biden is the hill that they're willing to die on. Joe Biden was a senile figure back then. And
he's a kind old man, damn it. He didn't do
because by his own admission,
he's a
because this is
egomaniac who's an absolute moron even before he started talking to dead people.
Because by his own admission, this is all about Trump. They don't actually care about Biden. It's all about Trump. Their hatred of Trump basically dictates every decision that they make in their life. So Biden was just he even said it in the full video. If you go watch the full video, he'll say it in his own words that Biden was just a means to take out Trump. So their hatred of Trump basically controls their entire way of thinking in their lives. And like I said, to them, Biden was just a means to an end.
That is interesting because they had the same thing with the Never Trumpers. And I was one for a while until it became always Biden, and Biden was always right.
I agree with that, Neil.
Perfect. And then once Biden was too out of it to run, they went, Harris is always right. She's perfect. You criticize her, you're a racist and a sexist. Enough. Come on. I mean, Biden was never a good candidate. He was only there because Bernie Sanders could have been the nominee, and that would have probably either sunk the election, or it would have just sunk the nation if we had an open socialist to be president. So that's why Uncle Joe, dear Uncle Joe, became president.
Democratic socialists. Come on, let's be.
That just basically
wouldn't have been good. Honestly, it just wouldn't have been good.
Democrat socialists are just people who are too big of a pussy to be called communists. That's all there really is.
You mean like the next mayor of New York?
Yeah.
On Cornette's end, like to that point, like he says, "Oh, you can't say this about Joe Biden being a pedophile and blah blah blah." And then he literally the next sentence, well, Trump's one too. Trump, like, dude, I have no.
Yeah.
Just because I have a picture. I have a picture of him standing next to Epstein doesn't mean it's the same thing as Hunter Biden standing next to a 12-year-old.
But all this is happening when wrestling is at its worst. And again, I'm speaking at but wrestling is at one of the worst spots it's been in the last 20, 25 years. And notice that all this wrestling commentator, who was a well-known figure in wrestling, at least when I watched, he's talking about politics, and he's been talking about politics. And here's the thing: the more you obsess, the more you spiral. And it doesn't matter what, if it's right wing, left wing, the criticism, where it goes, it doesn't matter. You're going to drive people away who listen to you for wrestling and wrestling expertise and insight. That's what they care about. They don't care about what you're spiraling about or obsessed with or trying to convince them of, because it's like anything else. It's like they come to you for A, and you keep giving them B. So I don't know this podcast. I don't even know the guy but I would have done the same thing. If someone literally is telling me what I can and can't say, or I can or can't think, that's it, man. I'm sorry. That's one of my hard line. Just like, nope. See ya.
It's curious that's very fascist. If you decide to tell someone what they can or cannot say,
you're not going to sit there. You're not going to sit there and dictate to me what the truth is when I know you're full of shit. Sorry, Jim. It's not going to happen. It's not.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's the Cornette situation here. So
love you, Stacy.
Apparently, too many people love Stacy. That's the problem.
Me and Stacy used to laugh all the time on the corner whenever Roland Alexander would come by and like tell people, "You got to learn how to lift up weights." And every time it'd be like a Jack in a Box fart. Every single time he'd say that. Like, you got to go and work out.
While he sits there and eats his bacon double cheeseburger.
Yeah. Love you, States.
Oh man. Okay, where do I want to pivot from here? Let's start here. I haven't had Jack in the Box legitimately in like 4 years, so I have no idea.
I haven't. Are they around anymore? Because
on the West Coast they are, but not out here.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about this story, then we'll kind of pivot into our closer here. James Gunn's Superman is basically going to fall short of Man of Steel. Now, I know that this is going to anger and upset a lot of people because you guys were so invested in this whole James Gunn versus Zack Snyder feud, which I said 2 years ago, they both stink. It's literally not worth getting into this battle for, but none of you listen, and now you're here trying to make excuses for a film that is going to lose money for Warner Brothers and just prove what I said at the very beginning of this whole thing. James Gunn, under no circumstances whatsoever, should ever have been involved with being the lead, being essentially the lead essentially for this Superman movie. Like, this should not have been his project whatsoever. But like I said, everyone was so infatuated with Snyder and Man of Steel and what's his face, Henry Cavill and all this stuff. They didn't want to listen. Is there a super chat? Is there a
I didn't see one.
I did not see one either.
Oh, they said like they literally put it in the text $5 or whatever. I don't think they actually sent a super chat.
Yeah, no. Okay, so I was like, because I'm looking at it right now and
yeah, here it is. Beautiful, $5 from beautiful. Yeah, it's not.
There's nothing worse than a super chat IOU.
Right. It's like, okay. Typing it in doesn't actually make it a.
Yeah. So that's why I didn't see it, because I actually didn't receive it. So I wasn't ignoring it; it just did not come up as a super chat. So you must have did it incorrectly. But outside of that, so everyone's gone all in on this James Gunn thing. What I find very humorous now is that now, because enough time has passed and the movie's being pulled out of theaters, the clips are starting to appear on social media, primarily Twitter, and people are tearing apart this James Gunn Superman movie to shreds, because there was people out there trying to make the argument that, oh, this is one of the best Superman movies we've ever seen. There were some shills out there trying to make it seem like this was the best Superman movie that we've ever received, which is laughable. And there's two sides to this. Like I said, one is the very clear anti-Snyder side, and the other part of this is James Gunn. Now, all the stuff about James Gunn aside, there are people out there that believe foolishly that James Gunn is like this great filmmaker when it comes to like his projects. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I've never really bought into James Gunn's style of humor and his worldview at any point in anything that he's done. I think he has a very immature, childless, and nihilistic view of the world, which is very, very clear in a lot of his films, which is why I generally don't like his writing. I only like the first Guardians of the Galaxy, which is a movie that he co-wrote, which says a lot compared to the other two. And I think that there's a lot of people who are going to bat for James Gunn because they believe in their demented mind that, well, you know, he was a victim of cancel culture a few years ago. No, the fuck he wasn't. If you guys recall, he got exposed for some old tweets that he made that were very, very questionable at best and then pedophilic at worst, right? He got exposed. It came out. He tried to hide from it. It didn't work. It got to a point where Disney had to distance themselves from him for a short period of time. So he got fired from Guardians of the Galaxy for like a year, only for the heat to go down and Disney to be like, okay, you can come back on and keep doing all the rest of your projects, you know, or it's all good now. So he got to finish Guardians of the Galaxy 3. He did a couple of movies for DC, and now he's in complete control of the DC universe as far as the movies go, as we see fit for the foreseeable future. So let's not sit here and pretend like James Gunn went through the exact same thing that Gina Carano went through a number of years ago. That is absolute horseshit. So let's stop with this whole narrative here. But if you look at the box office for this film, this is a movie that needed to be not a home run, but a grand slam for Warner Brothers. Because let's be honest, their movies have been terrible for years, mediocre at best, a couple of them, but they've just been really, really bad. This was supposed to be a brand new direction for DC moving forward. This was supposed to be a whole brand new direction. This did not do well overseas at all. Because in my estimation, this is not really a Superman movie. This is a James Gunn movie that features Superman. But as a result of this, they did not get the international box office receipts they were hoping for, which meant that the overwhelming majority of the money had to come from the domestic box office, which they did not get. It's sitting at close to $600 million right now, but you also have to keep in mind this is a film that I believe costs about $250 million to produce, let alone all of the marketing that went in there, because they spent a pretty penny on marketing. Like I said, they needed this film to be a home run. They needed this film to inspire people about all the other projects James Gunn is going to be working on for the next several years. Let's just put it to you this way. If people didn't care about Superman, they're not going to give a shit about Booster Gold. I hate to break this. It's not going to happen, right? And the only other movie or projects that got, I got not say spoiled, that's not the right word, that got promoted here in this film was one about the Justice Society friends, whatever they call themselves in that movie. The Green Lantern. Justice Gang, right? The Hot Girl and Mr. Terrific and all that little group. And then the other one was the Supergirl movie, which is already shot, that's coming out next year. And again, I don't know who you think is going to be interested in a boss bitch, Yas Queen, Supergirl movie with a drunk playing. So, like, I don't know who you think is going to be into that. Like, I don't know who that's made for. But that's what they're going for next year with the Supergirl movie. If you couldn't even get people in for a Superman, I don't think Supergirl is going to fare much better here. This is just a creative failure from top to bottom here. Now, I want to save a particular point of this conversation for our closer here, but let's just focus on the Superman aspect of this and James Gunn in general here. Rob, I think you saw Superman... basically the same viewing that I did. It was mediocre at best. Didn't feel like a Superman movie to me at all. And there was a lot of dumbass James Gunn humor attached to it, which was why I thought was going to kill this movie when they first announced it 3 years ago. Is it any surprise that it's performing the way it is right now?
Good job, James Gunn. Really good job. So you got another shot. You literally got the reins to do whatever the fuck you wanted. Literally, DC, Warner Brothers was like, please help us. Please figure this out. Please just take the reins and do whatever you want to do. Well, this is the result, okay? And I mean, I fucking have hated James Gunn's movies for a decade. So trust me, I've been just waiting for this to be a giant flop and a disaster. And look, it wasn't a flop, and I don't think it was a complete disaster, but the movie itself is just such a giant piece of shit. I think I had bigger problems with it than anybody on the panel, other than more than Rick, more than Jacob, just because like they turned Superman into this petulant, whiny little bitch boy who has this speech at the end about how he's human because he's flawed. And it's like, first of all, you're not human, dickhead. Second of all, he's got so many things about the character wrong, about Lois Lane wrong, about that world, and again, I'm not even the biggest Superman guy. I'm really a Batman guy. I kind of think Superman, even at his best, is a whiny Boy Scout, but that's, he's not. That's like, even I've read enough stories. I've read enough comics, Crisis on Infinite Earths. I've read, The Death of Superman. I've read some really great ones. And it's like, dude, you did such a disservice to and again, he's not the namesake, but he's pretty close. He's like the 1B to Batman for DC. Like that's exactly. Superman is that bright, gleaming, shining hope for humanity. And there was none of that in this movie. And it's like, if you can't even inspire that in your audience, I mean, there was a bunch of people on social media who said they liked it. Okay, sure. It made $594 million. F1 just eclipsed you at the box office as it's about to hit its streamer for Apple TV. F1 was the movie of the summer. It didn't make the most money, but in terms of what it is, and it put butts in seats, and like it was almost 3 hours long. That is an accomplishment in 2025. So like James Gunn was allowed to do whatever he wanted. This is the result. I think it's kind of a disaster. It's kind of a mess, but sure, it didn't completely fail in the financial sense, but it certainly
honestly, it's not going to make its money back. Given I think that for this film, the break-even point was about $650 for this film, given everything that went into it, it's gonna probably maybe reach there if they keep it in theaters a couple more weeks, but it's not going to be like, they didn't create this movie. They didn't put all of this into James Gunn just for a Superman movie that was going to break even at the box office. This was the reset, and this is the result of that reset.
Well, this is
After
the
all
launch,
that.
right? This was supposed to be the launch of a whole new series, and no, watching it or thinking about it again, there was so much that was not about Superman. It was about the so-called Justice Gang. It was terribly unbalanced. But I'm surprised that Rob did not respond to Crypto and did not respond to how Jimmy Olsen was this sort of sex god, except for Superman, whose whole job was to strip every woman on Earth to impregnate her. Well, I don't know what they were thinking with all of this. It's just bad. I feel bad for, was it David Cornsweet, who I think did a decent job. I think he's much better than Brandon Routh. I just wonder, and I've said this many times, who is the target audience for this? This movie didn't feel like a Superman movie. It wasn't very epic. It was just there. If people liked it, well, I guess, fine, but so much. I mean, Superman really disappeared for long stretches. I mean, when he's in that parallel universe. So what?
And I never want to hear anybody complain about Man of Steel again, with how like he's dour and he's questioning himself. It's like, and what the fuck was going on in Superman for like where he feels sorry for himself basically, and it's just like, can you like wake the fuck up and punch somebody in the face, please?
By the way, the best thing that came out of that Superman movie was Cydra's parody song. So,
yes,
I mean,
Truth.
And that's the other thing too. Is like, how is that real? How is it a real plot point that his father, which they tried to do the same thing with the Batman. Bruce's parents are evil. It's just like, okay. I mean, I don't even understand what that's supposed to symbolize.
They're trying to reinvent the wheel. They're trying to reinvent the wheel and put a different spin on it or an edge to it. But it's almost a bit like, was it Superman 3 when we got to see the dark Superman and it turned out to be more comical than
you mean
Richard
Pryor,
like they did in this one with the Bizarro Superman, which is what they were like did a half-assed attempt on.
Exactly. It was like, oh, it's Bizarro, but it's not Bizarro. It's like it's kind of Bizarro. He's like Bizarro light.
That wasn't a darker Superman, Rick. That was Richard Pryor.
Oh, Superman 3, by the way, I called it Richard Pryor meets Superman.
A Richard Pryor Superman would have been epic.
True.
The trouble is with all of this is that it's not that superheroes are done and over with or whatever. It's the fact that we're dealing with 100-year-old superheroes. Superman has done every golly gosh darn thing under the sun. Batman has done it too. In fact, these fellas have done it 3 or 4 times now. And just flatly, nobody gives a shit. That's why the Lego Batman movies are so engaging to people, because it divorces itself almost entirely from the known Batman attitude and lore. You have a jackass Batman that is full of himself, constantly fucks up, but comes out on top purely because he rides by the seat of his pants. Absolutely the opposite of every cinematic Batman we've had since Adam West. And that's why it works. Now, the Lanterns isn't going to work because it's another, like, what if superheroes said fuck? That's all the whole gimmick is with James Gunn's world is, what if superheroes said fuck? What if they weren't PSA don't smoke ads, And that was like his best thing, was to take what CW did and just kind of edgy it a little more. Because you can't tell me that Superman movie wouldn't have been cut up into a 4-parter CW episode for the Arrowverse. Think about what you saw in that. That had barely anything to do with the DC universe itself. It just used a bunch of characters from it. Yeah. And that's what you're running into, is James Gunn doesn't know what to do with this. He knows how to make a group of people who don't fit together. And that's why all these random ass characters are scattered all through Superman's story, because James Gunn can't sit down with an aspirational superhero and go from A to B. He's got to have all this random bullshit happen in the middle in order to satisfy his need to have quirky people working together. You can't. Superman's not a story. The Justice League cartoon, we all know that one. The Justice League cartoon does not have as powerful of a Superman as we usually see in the cinematic universe even. It's not just because the team is like made up of people who don't possess his fantastic powers, but it's because Superman in that show is constantly self-sacrificing himself to show the repercussions of being the tank. He's constantly putting himself ahead of the team as the guy that takes the first shot. And that gets his ass kicked constantly because he's got that protector mindset. At no point did that occur to James Gunn to put that in this story. We've got him saving a fucking squirrel.
And you know, again, I've said this before. In the very first Superman, the 1977-78 version, they took the premise seriously, and they were very clear. We can't be smarter than the material. That's what Tom Mankiewicz said. We can't be smarter than the material. You know, you could have some funny moments, but you have to take the whole premise, everything about it seriously. That's something that is not in James Gunn's forte. He cannot take a premise seriously. He cannot make a serious film. So of course we're going to have all of these jokey things and the squirrel thing and making the kind of little quippy comments. You know, I'm getting, I'll get to it or whatever it was. It's just boring, and it just crowds it out. It crowds out Superman. Superman was crowded out of his own movie here. And just real quick, go watch the Helen Slater Faye Dunaway Supergirl. That's probably going to be better than whatever we got here. Whatever we're going to get from this one.
Couple of things here real quick. Real quick, I'll let TW go, but real quick, he says that, do you think that James Gunn's DC universe will get canceled soon, or what answers do you have? They can't cancel it. They've invested like I said, this was the reset. This was the whole, we're going to combine Warner Brothers and Disney, and we're going to give the keys to somebody else, and he's going to run with this whole thing. So they're too deep now into this whole thing to go back. Because essentially, if they give up on James Gunn's universe, that's 2 failures within a decade. Massive failures. And you won't be able to fix this for like another 20, 30 years at that point.
I don't think it's going to get canceled, but it is going to kind of slowly fade out. This is not going to be like with the so-called Dark Universe, where the first movie, The Mummy, was such a disaster that they canceled the whole idea of the shared Dark Universe. So they're going to pipe out a couple of these DC films, but it's just going to be a losing game, and they're just going to slowly fade away. And maybe that's what should happen. I think a lot of us have said these superhero movies should just start fading away, but they've got 1 or 2 that they have to release. They're kind of stuck with them.
Go ahead, TW.
Oh yeah, honestly, the only thing I can really say about this situation is I didn't watch either of the James Gunn or Zack Snyder Superman films, but from what I've seen, neither of these are like Superman at his best at all. And honestly, as much as I hate the Injustice games honestly like did Superman and wrote Superman honestly the best, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't think James Gunn has the emotional maturity to do a successful Superman movie. Like I said, I don't have no. Well, I honestly can't even say that, because first of all, my question several years ago was like, what makes James Gunn qualify to essentially be a studio head, even if we're just talking about in the realms of DC comic books? Like, I don't understand. You do 3 Guardians of the Galaxy movies, and you're just giving the keys to DC for the foreseeable future. I never understood that. But even if that was the case, it was like, fine, you oversee DC, you're the wrong person who should be doing a Superman movie. Like, this should not be you at all. But he had to have his stamp of approval on this, so he's basically the Hollywood version of Triple H. You have to figure out that, no, he's the one running everything. So, hey, let me put my name on end of the credits of this. So, because... Oh, go ahead, Rob.
Oh, I just wanted to point out real quick, like, if you look at like Rick was saying, with the Christopher Reeve Superman movie, you had that score by John Williams, which inspires like hope and the best that humanity can live up to, and just this sheer emotion that's tied behind it. And you got none of that in this. I mean, they tried that slight musical score with the electric guitar, which was so fucking lame. And there, I don't know, there's just so much behind that, and none of that ever came across in this movie. And I just don't think James Gunn earnestly believes in superheroes, and that's okay, you know what I mean? But he also doesn't make a adequate version of his like sarcastic, like hit lib, whatever.
It's the same thing that I mentioned on the show the last couple of weeks. It's like you got people in Hollywood who don't know what good and evil actually is. Their definition of good is evil, and their definition of evil is good. So how are you supposed to expect them to get what is, at least in the realm of comic books, the ultimate embodiment of good correct? How do you expect James Gunn to do that?
But Mario Puzo wrote the screenplay for The Godfather. He wrote the screenplay, the book. He wrote the book for The Godfather.
He was not a comic book. He was not
right,
a comic
but he wrote
guy.
the screenplay for Superman. And what my point is that you have good and evil being portrayed in both of those stories, and yet somebody like Mario Puzo, this fat fuck from New York, who had no connection to the movie business, wrote two of the most influential movies in the 1970s.
Because Mario Puzo, when he saw it and he read it, as I said, he saw it as a great tragedy. He did not see it as pulp entertainment. And again, it's another case of taking it serious. And kind of build up a bit on what Rob said. In the first Superman, you got established actual actors to be in this movie. You got Gene Hackman, I mean, gold standard there. Marlon Brando, even though he was completely bonkers, you got him there. You got Susanna York in a small role as Superman's mother. You got Jackie Cooper. You got established stars and good, solid actors who had long careers to kind of balance out that whole mythos here. What do you have here? I mean, I think Nicholas Hoult is a great actor, but other than he, who else can you point to that say, oh yes, this is an actor that is going to balance out all of this so-called comedy? You're going to get what, Nathan Fillion, the guy who's coasted on Firefly all his career. That's going to be your big name.
Yeah. By the way, just here real quick. So now that this film has disappointed, we won't say flop, but disappointed is the best term you can say for this film. Now this is what they're expecting to save them next year in 2026, because Supergirl will be their big blockbuster summer movie next year based on this character. Yeah, they made a whole movie about her, and it's coming out next year. That's what's going to save Warner Brothers.
We're going to owe Helen Slater a massive apology, because I kind of like that Supergirl in a very weird. It's not a good movie, but it's a very.
She grows on you.
It's watchable, and at least Helen Slater tried. I think she did a pretty decent job, even though she's fighting a literal witch in Faye Dunaway. But yeah, who's going to really be invested in seeing a Supergirl movie? They can even go back to the TV show, which I understand was quite popular. So who's going to go for this? You've got to build the character. You just can't have her pop in.
Like I said, this is going to be the Supergirl for the boss bitches and the ass queens. Because those are the only people who are identifying with that character at the end of that film. Talking about, oh, she's so hilarious, I can't wait for her solo film. She's gonna imagine paying money for 2 hours of that and not expecting it to get really old really fast.
That's
Do those people read comics?
That character. Okay, if you introduce her this way in Supergirl, I would hope, and this is a weak hope, but I would hope that you would see her mature and become the superheroine that she should be or could be.
You know what they're going to do is that they're going to.
I love superheroine.
They're going to find some kind of way to justify her shit behavior and make her a good person based on complete devoid of logic.
And they're going to have Krypto be the dominant character in this film. I mean, honestly, Krypto was in this movie more than Superman. And I love saying this. This Superman wasn't punk rock; he was yacht rock, and I love yacht rock. But no, this is kind of weak.
You know, you bring up crypto, and I gotta add this. Like, this just stuck in my craw, I guess you might call it. But I'm just kind of stuck with this because Superman walks into Lex's office and pitches a desk over and attempts to intimidate Lex over a dog. Now, what happens when Lex hurts a kid? Superman has already illustrated that he will destroy private property in order to terrify a man over a dog. What? He has to escalate that violence, or else he doesn't care about kids as much as he cares about dogs.
He cares about all animals. That's why he rescued that squirrel twice.
Dogs, children, all of them.
Okay, but the fact that the filmmaker chose this, he chose to virtue signal to the audience to say, look how he cares about the dog. Oh my, that makes me want to punt James Gunn across the fucking universe. Not across the planet, across the fucking universe, because it's like, there are people that would literally kill to be in your position, to do your job, just to tell stories for a living. And this is the best that you can do, you fucking asshole.
And not only that, the dog just ended up being a device for them to use throughout the movie so that they can bring it back around at the very end and reveal, oh, the dog belonged to Supergirl. Supergirl coming out next year. That's the only reason why the dog's in the damn movie. The only reason.
The dog, I mean, he was such a dominant character. It was bizarre to me. I mean, was he trying to appeal to kids with Crypto? Where Crypto was just
I'm going to be honest with you, Rick. They were trying to appeal to the autismos that care more about dogs than people. That was that whole scene, that whole thing that he had with Crypto. It was made to make for people who care more about dogs than people. Because, yeah, I'd be so heckin' mad if my doggo got kidnapped. I'd go in there and make Lex poopy his pants. You bet I would. Everybody that was like, oh, yeah, Superman's so righteous, beating up Lex over his dog. Those are the people they're aiming for. The people that will murder a human child to benefit a puppy.
And listen, I love dogs. I'm a huge dog lover. But I have no connection to a CGI dog. Like, this goes back to that Harrison Ford Call the Wild fucking movie that they did, where that was one of the first at least Hollywood productions where they, did a CGI dog, and it was just like, it's fine, I guess, if you watch that and like you can still connect to it emotionally. That's fine. I personally can't. It's just like I can tell. It's this generated thing, and that was part of just not okay. We have the CGI dog. It's supposed to be funny and cute, and it just is another distraction in the series of them.
Yeah, I mean, they couldn't bother putting Lois in danger. I mean, I think that would have that.
Yeah, right.
Can you imagine a woman in danger?
She can fly a spaceship. Okay, she just does that. She's just like, I can do this, and that's what happens.
Look, so if Jimmy Olsen can be some sort of sex god where all these women are stooping him, I mean, why can't you have Lois Lane fly a spaceship?
I don't think a lot of people are talking enough about that Jimmy Olsen thing, because that's really awkward. That is really, really awkward.
They were probably more talking about how hardcore looks like that black guy they shot like 4 months ago. That's
right. Like, that's really weird how close that came to body cam footage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I will say that I have actually heard that from a few women that they like Skylar Gizmondo or whatever his name is, because he was in Licorice Pizza and he's been in a bunch of things like San Clarita Diet and a bunch of things that have come up, and I'm just like, okay, great.
You hipster actor.
He's a good actor. I think he's a good actor. He's funny, but he obviously was not given much to do here except be, I don't know, like manipulate the woman inside LexCorp that he's trying to pump for information, both literally and figuratively. So there you go.
So
I didn't even know who she was for the longest time. That's supposed to be Miss Tessmacher?
Yeah.
I just want to point out that
I thought that was Lex Luthor's sister. Like, so unaware of things. And then we find out, I read the credits, and she's supposed to be Miss Tessmacher. And all I can hear is Gene Hackman just screaming out, Miss Tessmacher! And I'm going, that was both funny and kind of weird. But, what can I say?
All I learned is that between Zach the Hack and James Bum, between the two of these guys, Rob hates Mario Puzo the most. That's fucking sad.
No. He is a fat fuck from New York. He would describe himself, rest in peace, by the way, Mr. Puzo, as a fat fuck from New York. And I know this because I just read Leave the Gun, Take the Cannoli, which is all about Mario Puzo writing the book and getting it sold and being intimidated by real life mobsters. And it's, by the way, great book. Pick it up if you're interested. No, he would describe himself that way, and I respect him because he's an outsider, and he loved stories enough to come up with both of those things.
Eddie, in Rob's defense, he can say that because he is a paisan, so he can get away with it.
And also, keep talking about dogs and like super dogs. Everyone go, if you have Netflix, go and watch Fixed by Jenny Karakovsky and John Beatty. Excellent movie. It's much better than Sausage Party as that whole sex comedy goes.
That's a whole conversation for another day, but let's kind of reel this conversation into our closer here, and that is John Cena, because
who wasn't Superman?
While
John Cena,
he had a cameo, and we'll talk a lot about. So John Cena has not had a great year when you actually look in between the lines and outside the box here. This is his last year as a pro wrestler. This whole thing with the WWE this year is that, hey, look, 2025 is it. There's no more John Cena after this. He's done. He's a full-time actor now. Enjoy Cena while you got him, because you won't see him again in the ring when this year is over. Okay, fine. Earlier this year, he had the famous heel turn against Cody Rhodes, where he turned heel for the first time in his career, which I guess year 23 is better late than never. But he turned heel. The heel turn was a complete and utter disaster. Did not work at all. Now, some people are pointing the finger one way and pointing the finger the other way. Here's the reality of the situation. They only did this because they couldn't sell tickets to WrestleMania, because the build to WrestleMania was boring. They called The Rock to come in and do something. He apparently only wanted to come in for one night. He didn't want to come in and do like 4 months or whatever the case was going to be. So everyone just blamed The Rock for it. But in the course of all that happening, John Cena has been heel, or was heel, for 5 months. They did absolutely nothing with him. They didn't bother to change his character. They didn't bother to change his gear. None of that, because he makes too much money on merch. So why would you turn someone who's a top merch seller heel then? That's almost as if there's a reason why Vince McMahon didn't want to turn John Cena heel in the first place. And they found out in 5 months why it didn't work. So then he cut an abrupt promo. Basically, it's like, yeah, guys, I don't want to be a bad guy anymore. I want to be a good guy now. So, yeah, I'm all with Cody Rhodes now. And thank you, Cody, for making me feel like that I shouldn't have. That's literally what he did. I'm not even making this up, by the way. You go watch the promo yourself. Then he gets attacked by Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. Lesnar hasn't been seen since, so it's been 2 weeks since Cena got attacked by Brock, and they made no reference to Brock whatsoever. And then now, for some reason, he's having a match against Logan Paul in Paris. This whole thing has just been a complete and total disaster. Then on top of that, you had the premiere that came out, I guess, a couple days ago on Peacemaker Season 2. Now, once again, this is another James Gunn project. This is James Gunn's fingerprints is all over this whole situation. I'm going to play you the opening few seconds of this, because I guess they made a revelation not too long ago about John Cena's Peacemaker character, and that, according to James Gunn, he's bisexual. Surprise, guys! John Cena is in the fruit. John Cena's in the Fruit Loop troop, guys. It's official.
What's all this?
Well, I had a feeling it was.
Oh, I see. You have a party. You don't even invite me. You don't even seem that into sex. I'm into sex because, like a lot of people, it's an opportunity to bond with my best friend.
Shut up, Jimmy Olsen.
That's not like a lot of people.
Again, this is James Gunn's sense of humor in a nutshell. Now, I just want to pause here before I play the rest of this and go into this. This is one. I know some of you guys are like, what the hell am I watching right now? I get it. This is, Rob, you can attest to this. There's a lot of genres in Hollywood that they've just completely lost the plot on. Comedy is one, action is another one, romance is a big one. It's like they don't know how to make these things anymore. I guess in the context of the DC universe, the Peacemaker character is supposed to be some sort of anti-hero, right? The problem is that the people who are creating this, they don't know what good is. They don't even know what an anti-hero would actually be. The classic anti-hero trope is the Punisher, right? The Punisher is a guy who murders bad guys, right? Now, what he's doing is objectively wrong, but in his mind, what he's doing is good because he's taking quote-unquote bad people off the street, right? And he has something horrific that happened to him, which led to this mentality, this role that so it's understandable how the Punisher became the Punisher, right? What you're seeing in Hollywood, and James Gunn is a great example of this, is that they're presenting to you people who they think are good or somehow conflicted and trying to be like, oh, they're not a traditional hero, they're just like an anti-hero, but they don't know what an anti-hero actually is. Perfect example of this is Ironheart. Remember Ironheart when that came out, about a month ago now, where it was a story about a black girl who robbed MIT of a suit that she used their money to build in the first place. Then she decided that she wanted to essentially rob rich people to fund her own suit, got involved in some kind of a drag queen transgender crime organization, and then literally, again, not making any of this up, at all. You can check it out yourself. I'm not lying. And then at the very end of the 6 episodes that they released on Disney Plus, she literally sells her soul to the devil, aka Mephisto. And now that's an anti-hero in your mind, someone who steals from people, completely self-absorbed, robs people, and then sells their soul to the devil. That's an anti-hero in your mind. So again, this is a character that's supposed to be portrayed as an anti-hero, just like Supergirl, drunk boss bitch Supergirl is supposed to be a hero in her mind. It's like they're not presenting you heroes. They're presenting you their own perversions of what heroes are. And because these people who are making this have no moral center to go off of themselves, they thinking that, oh no, these are relatable. These are more relatable than the Batmans and the Supermans. This is why The Boys is a big show, because some schmuck thought this, like, wouldn't it be cool if superheroes were just like us, just as evil and wicked and degenerate just as us, but they call themselves superheroes? This is the same thing that you're seeing here. This is essentially the dumbing down of society being portrayed in art, and James Gunn is a perfect representation of that dumbing down here. Now I'm going to play you the rest of the trailer.
Oh, God. We need to find Peacemaker.
Meadows?
And like Lex Luthor, he's in possession of some kind of dimensional portal.
Yep. Oh no, he's being surrounded by the gay.
To the world.
Look, another show they can't light.
Hey.
We're in the green room.
Fuck you then, you crypt keeper looking bitch.
We're right. We're free. We'll fight. No, no.
I fucking do. I hate this.
See, guys, he kills people and it's funny. They can't even get that aspect of it right.
I hate that there's still the trend of taking a song and trying to strip it down to every bass it can.
That's all James Gunn. He's been doing that for 20 years, and we keep giving them a pass for doing that. Like, literally, Cider, didn't we just have an argument about this very conversation like a few days ago?
Yummy, yummy, yummy.
Yeah,
I got
into big fucking trouble on the Bounding account. Not with the boss or anything, but I put out that video, remember, about the Mr. Terrific song? Yeah. I edited it. That has 5.4 million views. That's how much people hated that, by the way.
He's been doing this, I mean, primarily you know it obviously from Guardians of the Galaxy, because it was a big gimmick with Guardians of the Galaxy, how all their action scenes had to have some 70s, 80s pop song attached to it, right? Oh, and now he just continues.
But then sung in like this weird Anya kind of like new agey kind of.
Ugh. That's the trend too, like with taking pop songs and then like making them these depressing,
all dramatic and depressing. Yeah, they've been doing that for a while.
We get it. We get it.
You're not gonna take it,
right? Stop.
No, we're like, oh my god! If I almost want to pull a Jim Cornette and just pull up to somebody's house and punch him in the face every time I see stuff like this.
I'm gonna do that to James Gunn pretty soon if we keep watching this.
Keep going.
He is not going to do that.
I'm not going to do that to you, James.
He'll do that in Minecraft.
Because even if I was going to do it, I wouldn't tell you. Like, I'm not gonna put
I'm gonna write a book like O.J. Simpson. This is if I did it.
Yeah, exactly. If I did do it, here's how I would do it.
Right. The best part of the trailer so far.
Another thing that I'm just so sick of. I'm so sick of this like misery torture porn disguised as entertainment. Because it's like, guys, God, I get it. We all like John Wick. We all like how John Wick kills a bunch of people. But even I'm sick and tired of John Wick at this point here. This whole, like I said, The Boys, Peacemaker, where it's like, oh yeah, people are dying and it's funny and it's humorous and it's entertaining. Like, I'm so sick of it.
Speaking of John Wick, that wig is barely hanging on
for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like Deadpool. I mean, and again,
yeah,
you know,
that too.
Like that, but I've been over that for a while now.
Again, and this is another thing, just the dumbing down of our society. When Deadpool 3 came out last year, and there was the whole bye routine at the beginning, I actually hated that. But of course, everyone else loved it because it's like, oh, it's the NSYNC song that I know, and it's so funny because he's killing people. It's like, how many times are you guys gonna fall for this trite?
I used to listen to that song playing GTA 3. Just for the same reason.
That's odd.
Terminator Joe makes this point where it's like, and again, I hate to toot the horn, fucking pun, but F1 had an original score by Hans Zimmer that was like impactful, memorable, really well done. And you're right, most of the movies that have come out this year just regurgitate soundtracks and pop songs and whatever. But that's a lost art, being able to have someone compose
just being original.
Yeah,
at all.
You know, the craziest thing about all this is that AI is right there to do that.
Yeah.
The worst thing you could do is make an AI song and just throw that in your movie. You can make an AI song, hand that to a musician, and be like, "Hey, add some pizzazz to this."
I'm an idiot.
I
when
love
it comes to
making
music. One of those things I've always loved is literally a composer sitting down and writing this thing and literally having an entire orchestra play the music for this song and have it recorded. And I know you're right, because AI is ultimately going to replace those areas where you can find efficiencies. And if it can craft something similar or comparable, it's pretty much the writing's on the wall.
See, for as much as people complain about AI and stuff like that, it seems like most original stuff seems to come from people using AI. Isn't that weird?
Absolutely. I make all of my covers
because the people who use AI have more creativity than the people who get paid millions of dollars in Hollywood. That's why.
True. That's true.
Yeah. Just be a real hero.
You're one of us. We need you.
You ready for the next adventure, pal?
We're not going to take it
Pretend
anymore.
You found that.
That is easily the worst version of that song I've ever heard.
Next to that Cruella version of
It's just some rude motherfucker who I say hi to every time and never says hi back.
I gotta be honest.
That looks absolutely hysterical.
Just
I
don't know. It'll always sound weird to me.
But that's the thing. It's James Gunn is just the lowest common denominator of entertainment. It's swearing. It's people are getting killed. It's gore. It's literally entertainment for brain damaged people. And if you like that, fine, let it be your thing. But let's not pretend like it's not exactly what it is. But the focus here is on John Cena, who, like I said, his heel turn, his whole goodbye tour in WWE this year has been a complete failure. He even came out and admitted that the first heel promo that he cut earlier this year after he turned on Cody, he even admits that he bombed that promo. So even he doesn't like it. He doesn't like how this whole thing is going here. But the problem is that, you're almost done with wrestling, but now your only escape is basically a walking humiliation ritual with this Peacemaker character. And if you're not doing that, they got you naked on the Oscars at almost 50 years old because it's like, oh, it's John Cena and it's naked. Isn't that funny, guys? It's like your whole life you spent a quarter of a century in the WWE thinking that, okay, when this is all over, I'm going to go into the entertainment business and that's where I'm going to make, and now you're in it. But this is where you're at now. Like, you're not even at the level at where Rock is. Not to say that Rock's journey to where he is now was all gumdrops and ice cream too, because there were some freaking stinkers there in the 2000s too before he got to Fast and Furious.
He's going to win the Oscar for that upcoming movie, whatever that is.
The thing about it is, it's like, doesn't John Cena have enough money to where he doesn't have to do any of this crap?
It's all Chinese. So it's all Chinese, so it's fake money.
You would think. And like I said, this is on top of the Chinese apology and all this stuff. So it's like, I get it. There's a lot of younger people out there for some reason idolize John Cena because John Cena was your hero when we were making fun of you guys 20 years ago. And now you're all grown up. So you have this different view of John Cena than we do. But this is your boy.
They didn't get the opportunity to grow up with like Hogan's and The Rocks and Stone Cold like we did. So unfortunately for them, it's like, John Cena was that.
There's bigger wrestling fans than me, obviously, but I was a big wrestling fan as a kid, and I really was lucky where I started watching in the mid '90s, all the way through the early 2000s. But when John Cena came on the scene, and The Rock was kind of being phased out because of Hollywood and Stone Cold got hurt, and don't get me wrong, there was still talent there. I mean, Kurt Angle was still there or whatever, but I was kind of getting out of it, and I just saw at the time. This is my perception, obviously, as a 13, 14-year-old, but I saw this wigger coming into the WWF, and it was just going to be happening all the time. And I was like, and I'm out, and goodbye. And I'm sure I was going out anyway, but it was just like, nope, not doing that. Not even, nope, not once. And so I never thought of him as a viable actor. And the fact that he's become kind of one, and mostly blockbuster stuff or forgettable action movies or action comedies, or like I couldn't tell you 10 John Cena movies that he's been in. He was in the Marine.
I don't even know one.
He was in the Marine. That's what I can tell you. Everything else that he's been in, the movies where he's like some secret agent or some action person, I'm like, I couldn't tell you. Central Intelligence, is that one, or is that Dwayne John? See, I couldn't tell you one fucking John Cena movie right now.
He has a movie on. He has a movie out with Idris Elba on Amazon. I think it's called like Heads of State. It's
right.
It's terrible.
He's the president, right? Isn't he supposed to be the president?
He basically plays a moron in that movie too. That's his shtick. That's his go-to.
He's Vin Diesel. Where Vin Diesel was like 15 years ago, what was that movie, The Pacifier? Like where he's like the nanny. It's like this is a recycle thing. Remember, isn't Hulk Hogan in a movie called Mr. Nanny or something like that?
The Rock was in a movie called.
All they're doing is recycling wrestling roles for you, idiot. And by the way, none of you have ever hit Roddy Piper's performance, and they live. That's all.
And they never will.
No, but Dave Bautista has range, guys.
Roddy never had to put on a dress.
That's probably why Steve Austin's Hollywood career didn't go anywhere, because he wasn't willing to put on a dress either.
Yeah, I don't blame him.
Roddy wore a kilt.
That's different.
But yeah, no, like
I like John Cena.
Why? Like, what is there to enjoy about him as a persona? Is it
because he's been around? Because he's been around for a long time. I watched his career go. I saw the whole thing. I think that it was ridiculous for him to be a heel. I think that there should have been, like Sting, there should be a consistent babyface throughout your entire promotion. You should have a 25-year babyface. There should never be like a tweener or anything. There should be at least one 25-year babyface, whether it be Hulk Hogan, whether it would be Bret Hart, whether it would be Eddie Guerrero even. Yeah, they tried to turn Eddie heel at the end of his fucking career too. But no one could boo Eddie. So,
I mean, the thing about John Cena is like, oh, go ahead. My bad.
No, I just wish they kept Bayley on the same track, but she wanted to turn heel. But I wish there would be more. I wish to be
Bayley's been there for like 15 years. She's still can't cut a promo, so that's not all.
Well, that's why you need to be a babyface. If you're a babyface, you don't have to cut promos. That's one of the best things about it.
Yeah, like the thing about John Cena, man, I don't know. It was weird for me. It's like I've never really felt strongly either way. Rather like I cheered him or rather I hated him. It's just like either way. It was just, yeah, he's cool. I mean, I feel like they should have just kept the Dr. Thugonomics thing and just like kind of evolved it as time went on. But I don't know what the hell happened when he started wearing all those colorful shirts and shit.
It's because they wanted to make. It's because they didn't have Hogan anymore. They needed a patriotic bent because they're starting to go to Iraq a lot more often. They had John Cena announce that Osama bin Laden died in the middle of a pay-per-view. You know,
yeah.
Like this guy is. I can see where this guy is a big deal. I can see why no one likes John Cena either. You know, he's very, very uncharismatic outside of wrestling. I really don't see much of him outside of it.
It's just one of those situations where, like I said, like you mentioned earlier, you think that John Cena would be in a position where it's like he wouldn't have to do this. Because, I mean, like I said, guys they start in pro wrestling and then they shift to Hollywood because that's when they try to make their real money, like in Hollywood. With John Cena, it's not like he didn't make any money in pro wrestling. There's probably only like 2 guys in the history of pro wrestling who made more money in the wrestling business than John Cena did. So even if he had just strictly retired doing nothing but WWE, John Cena would be a very, very well-off man, right? So it's not like he's in a situation like he's broke and he needs to do this because he has no other choice. Like, he has options, but like I said, he wants to be a part of this Hollywood bubble, so they're going to make him chuck and jive and tap dance and all kinds of stuff in order to stay in the club. And this is just what, you know, it is now.
Just keep another wigger down.
Yeah, right. But look, it is what it is here with John. Things have not gone well for John's public image over the last several years. But hey, Peacemaker 2 is coming out, so when all these clips go viral, everyone's going to make it seem like this is the most hilarious thing that they've seen all year. But
John Cena's kissing a guy. Oh my God, that's hilarious.
John Cena's bisexual confirmed.
Yeah, I mean, I already didn't watch Peacemaker season 1. Now I'm not gonna watch this either.
Yeah. Right. Now the guy who single-handedly beat the Nexus in one night, now he has to play gay orgies in the James Gunn television show. So I guess Wade Barrett did win in the end.
It's all about representation. You need to have, I guess, a bisexual anti-hero, superhero, whatever Peacemaker is. I had when I saw one of those was Suicide Squad.
You need to have a psychopathic fruit booty serial killer to identify with.
No, I meant when I saw the Suicide Squad, I had to have that. I didn't know who this person was. I had to have that explained to me. So I don't know. I'm as perplexed as any of you as to why he's even doing any of this. He agreed to it. That's all I could say. I mean, he agreed to be in this. He didn't push back, and I guess he's fine with it.
Well, he's bisexual now. He can't push back.
It's too late.
I genuinely don't. I've never seen this show. I have no interest in seeing this show. I don't even understand the point of this character. So
you saw it. He murders people. He has gay
sex. He's an anti-hero, Rick. Get it?
He's just like the Punisher for gay.
I would know.
He's just another Deadpool.
Anti-hero for me would be a movie that I saw for Summer of the Stars, Loneliness of the Long Distance Runner.
Oh God!
The Tom Courtney character. That would be an anti-hero.
Yeah.
This
an anti-hero would.
So it's I don't know. It's maybe he'll be. You know what? I expect John Cena to be the new cheerleader for the Vikings.
That'd be tremendous.
Well. That would just complete the circle, I guess, for him to also break out the pom poms.
I don't know. Have a football team.
Well, it all depends on whether they want him to do that for the next ritual.
And I guess final question here, and this would be for, I guess, more of Eddie and TW, is John Cena's heel turn the worst of all time?
I mean, I wouldn't say the worst of all time. It's
No.
but yeah, it's not. It's nowhere.
The
near
worst.
The worst of all time.
The worst is Ric Flair in 1992, where they fired him, brought him back 6 months later under a mask, and then claimed it wasn't him. And then he came out as a babyface, or he came out as a heel under the mask, and then he took the mask off and became a babyface again.
I mean, there's heels who have just failed because like the crowd just refused to boo them. Like Undertaker and like Hulk Hogan in 2002 are like good examples of that, where you just can't turn them heel because the fans love them too much. It wasn't really a situation like that with John Cena this time around. Like people were willing to see, okay, what are they going to do with Cena as a heel? Like, is he going back to Thugonomics? Is he going to create a whole new character entirely? Is he going to like reinvent himself like The Rock did with the Final Boss character? And it's like they just did nothing, and it's because no one.
All he did was grimace at the camera and look angry at the camera all the time.
And scowl, and just like have a boo-boo face, like he just shit his pants. Like it's like, and here's the whole thing. This is what they don't want to admit, because whether it's Triple H, The Rock, or Cody Rhodes, no one wants to admit that this whole thing was their fault. He was never supposed to turn heel because the plan going into WrestleMania was for him to do a match with Cody Rhodes. They found out a few weeks before Mania no one cared about that match. So it's like, okay, let's get people to care by turning John Cena heel. And then they put no effort into the heel turn. It flopped. The Rock and Travis Scott wanted nothing to do with it, so they couldn't do anything there. So they tried to have him be bad guy for a while, and then just realized after a while it wasn't working. And then the reason how you know that it wasn't working, because if you guys notice at WrestleMania and the weeks leading on to the rematch against Cody Rhodes, Triple H has been on a mission for the last year to convince everyone that Cody Rhodes is the quarterback of WWE, meaning that all the success that WWE enjoys right now is all because of Cody Rhodes and nobody else. That's what they've been pushing. When he was going up against Cena both times, when he was going up against John Cena, the top babyface, Mr. Quarterback 1, everyone was rooting for John Cena. He got booed at Mania. He was getting booed leading up to SummerSlam. The only way that they could turn it around was by having John Cena go from heel to face and be like, well, now they're both good guys, see? So it's okay to cheer both of them on. It's like, you guys are such hacks. You guys are such fraud. We know exactly what your guys are. You're not smart. You need to stop pretending like you're smart and that you're not.
This is like when you have a comedy sketch where a character comes out in a funny costume. Okay, you get the initial laugh, but then you have to keep the scene going with the character in that costume. Same thing here. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you turn John Cena heel, but then what? You get your moment, you get your big shock or your, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. Mm. But then what? You have to have a plan. You have to keep the routine going. If you can't, then it was pointless to start.
We got our viral moment there. So look at the TikTok and the Instagram.
72 million people watched.
Mm-hmm. You know what's crazy, but then again, not surprising. Triple H is such an idiot. I've been saying this for years, and he just keeps proving me right. It's the good old phrase, keep it simple, stupid. Mm-hmm. Literally didn't have to do much of anything with John Cena's heel turn. There is only one way and one way only that you could have did it that would have worked. John Cena, Fast and Furious character. Mm-hmm. There it is. And then you could have had The Rock just be like a background player.
No, that's
the only way you could have realistically did it with a John Cena at this day and age.
Because I mean, look, I know. Hold on a second. Hold on, because with John Cena, I know that you couldn't do like basic thugonomics because he's almost 50 at this point. So it's like him going out there wearing throwback, Jordan jerseys just wasn't going to work in 2025. But like I said, do what The Rock did. Do what Jericho's done time and time again. Do what the guys from that era realize that, hey, look, I can't just keep doing the same shtick over and over again. It's going to get old. Let me find a way to tweak my character just a little bit so it's a slightly different presentation. That way fans just don't get utterly sick sick of me, right? And they didn't do that with John Cena's character at all. He came out in the same shirts that they already pre-made for the entire year, wearing that, last time in Glasgow, last time in Berlin, last time in Portugal, wherever the fuck they were at. They did the exact same things. They want to make new merchandise. He didn't change his cadence at all. He didn't change the persona. His whole gimmick, and this is how lazy Triple H and the WWE is. His whole gimmick for WrestleMania was that you guys aren't getting nothing. You're getting no new T-shirts, no new interest themes, nothing. So we're just gonna come out, and this is gonna be a giant black screen that has the words John Cena written on it, and that was their big creative idea for 6 months of John Cena's hit. Was that? That's the best they can come up with in 6 months.
An Adult Swim bumper.
Well,
yeah.
No, as I was going to say
Literally.
real quick, that heel thing wouldn't have worked there by doing the Fast and Furious character, because in the first Fast and Furious he was in, he was evil, but in the second one he was good. So it's like that's kind of pointless.
Yeah,
remember,
he's good this time, so it's totally
he
different.
sacrificed himself to save his nephew. Well, he may come back from the dead, you know.
Remember, he's supposed to be the biological brother of Vin Diesel.
Oh my god!
I'm sorry, those movies are so beyond. And listen, I know I defended Mission Impossible, and I think you can defend those on a certain level. The Fast and the Furious movies are the worst. They're the worst example of blockbuster movie making run amok, where it's like, as long as it makes money, we'll keep making them, people. And it's like, the next one makes $1 billion, and I'm like, stop, please stop.
Look,
stop.
I defended the Fast and Furious franchise because I take it as just fluff and just kind of just enjoyable in its idiocy. It wasn't until they literally went into outer space that I said, okay, that's it. I can't go on with this. Even I have a certain level of no more, and that was it. But they went into outer space.
They went into space because we're family.
Family.
We're family. So literally, what you're seeing here, this was the extent of the creative behind John Cena's heel turn. No, just big bright John Cena letters coming out to absolutely nothing. This was it. It was like his last year in the business, his last year in wrestling, and this is what they came up with. Get it? Because he's a bad guy now, guys.
So why did they do the bad guy thing with him?
Because it was something. It was something that wrestling fans had wanted for many, many years, but Vince McMahon, when he was in charge, refused to do so, and now we kind of see why he refused to do so. But everyone wanted at least one John Cena heel turn, because he hadn't been a heel since 2003. That was like his rookie year in WWE. So it had been 22 years since he was a bad guy on television. And then they turned him heel. It got a whole bunch of media attention, and they did absolutely nothing with it. And then, like I said, about 3 weeks ago, he cuts a promo on SmackDown just saying that, yeah, guys, I don't want to be a bad guy anymore, so I'm back to being regular John Cena. And then that was it.
The worst part is that they had done this 10 years ago when he was going against Kevin Owens and when he was doing the U.S. title run. Right, it probably would have worked out because you could probably, because at that time you were getting the John Cena sucks chance at the same time. Also, you were getting like an actual.
You were going to say his sex change.
Yeah, John Cena sex change. John Cena sex change. John Cena sex change. There we go. They got signs.
John Cena, the bisexual booty bandit. That would have been a good gimmick for his heel turn.
Oh my god! No, it sounded. Right,
why not just, I know he's a good guy now, and they done him up like a good guy now because he's a good guy again. Yeah,
guy, look, see, back to being regular John Cena now.
It looks like he was generated by AI, by the way, just so you know.
Probably was.
Probably was. Anyway, the situation that I find here with this is like they didn't think to like dress him up like the Black Knight and then have like sexy wrestling girls pull the armor off of him. Like when he walks up on stage and stuff. You remember how
this is wrestling, not Shakespeare.
Well, they could have him walk up there, and he's been possessed by the Black Knight, and so he's like this magic wrestler now, and that's how they have to free his soul from that. Like whatever, dude. The Undertaker was an immortal death god, okay? Like, is it that far-fetched that John Cena got possessed by a mythical Black Knight?
That would require creativity. That would require forethought, Cider. What you had here was just a quick shock in the publicity, and oh my goodness, you get this shocking twist. But then, what happens after? You have to keep the routine going. And
I would have accepted that. I actually would have liked Cider's idea for John Cena, because all you had to do is just move it a couple of years back. Like, the WWE has this thing about literally being like 3 years late. They were starting to do a bunch of faction wars, literally 3 years after Civil War came out, the movie. Like, had they just like understood that Marvel or whatever was having their own thing, they could have plotted it out the same way. And it would have made sense for John Cena to come out looking like the Dark Knight or whatever. Because it's like story-wise, you could have come up with something if it was following like a comic book or whatever. So, but they drop the ball all the time on this stuff. It's their thing.
Too late. Now he's a good guy again. They put him in front of a baseball logo.
But it's like what TW said. Keep it simple, stupid. I mean, when The Rock turned heel in 2003, it became Hollywood Rock. His whole gimmick was that he was just a Hollywood asshole who ate tofu and played the guitar. And people loved it. It was one of his best gimmicks. That sometimes you don't have to do a whole lot to get people, especially if people actually have talent. And look, I'm not going to crap all over John Cena. He does have talent, at least in the wrestling side of things go. He can cut a promo. He knows how characters work. You don't have to give him much for him to go off of it, but you gave him nothing. You just expected him to be like, well, he's John Cena, he can figure it out, and then guess what? It flopped.
Right. I mean, Batista was able to pull off that thing at WrestleMania where he comes in a car, and he didn't even do his intro, right? He comes in a car and then walks down to the ring in a suit. And I'm like, this is WrestleMania, dude. You're supposed to do the whole intro. And no, we're just going to drive into the car. He gets out like he got an Uber lift there. Like...
And then fell on his way to the ring.
And that was a better heel turn than John Cena's. Are they saying boo or boo earns?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're definitely saying boo earns.
That's where that name came from.
Yeah.
Boo.
But yeah, that's the state of Cena. So, any final thoughts here before we get out of here?
Wrestling is gay, and I don't like it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I thought football.
There's a lot of gay stuff in tonight's episode. There's a whole lot of gay.
All these male-dominated sports professions are becoming really, really gay all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why you guys will start watching the WNBA.
Because they got tons of dildos being thrown all over the place. At least I get to see something there.
No.
I'm not even making this up. Hold on a second. I'm not even making this up. Jim Cornette, when he was talking about firing, they didn't fire him. The guy walked away. One of the things that he was upset about is that apparently the guy was supporting the green dildos being thrown at the WNBA games, and that's one of the things that Jim Cornette listed that he got upset about.
Okay, what? Again, here's the thing. That sounds like, okay, I said it in chat a couple days ago, but when the headline sounds like satire, you're in trouble. You know, like when the thing that you are literally pointing out sounds like a joke someone is making. If you were earnestly saying the thing that someone, you're in trouble, man. Like, you're out of touch. You're in an echo chamber. You really need to get some help in terms of awareness. But because that's one of those things where it's like, if you're a self-serious boob, you're like, I am shocked and offended that someone would do. It's fucking hilarious. It's an absolutely juvenile thing to do, and that's why we're all laughing about it. It's not because we're sexist. It's not, you know what I mean? I'm not going to go on a fucking rant right now, but it's like people that take themselves too seriously say shit like that without batting an eye.
And then literally a week later, they take out the only attractive girl in the WNBA. It's like, you guys deserve to crash and burn hard.
So this took a little longer than it should have, but this is proof of concept.
We've seen green dildos before. Oh, that's a big green dildo.
There you go.
See, I can see that. I can see John Cena coming out in that.
Here's the first problem with this whole scenario. WWE will never allow women that attractive on their show ever.
Truth.
So
You got a point.
That's
You
first,
got me
that's
there.
the first.
Was that Big Van Vader?
You could get the new. You could get the new. Cheerleaders.
Oh my God!
They
get
would,
the
because the
cheerleaders.
Uggos
You could get
backstage
the
would get mad.
cheerleaders from the Vikings to do that.
He needs the Van Vader mask.
Yeah,
with
that's what I
the
was thinking,
fucking
is the
with the
Mastodon.
smoke coming out and everything
Yeah.
else. That'd be
The fucking
awesome.
Mastodon helmet. With this.
That would be great.
That's what I thought of when I first saw it. Yeah.
Well, like I said, they had an opportunity to do something really unique where you gave Cena a chance to be an actor and have him play a possessed man. He could play that. He's doing different wrestling moves. He doesn't do the 5-knuckle shuffle. He instead sweeps the leg and choke slams him or something, And that, again, he's possessed. They got to free his soul. And you flash the lights the day that they free his soul from it. And he's like, what happened, guys? I was eating a sandwich and now I'm here.
Didn't they, okay, for what
I was watching a Vikings game and then I'm here.
I felt something stir deep inside of me.
Somebody hit me in the neck. Suddenly
I was at a Carolina Panthers game and I noticed one of the cheerleaders has a huge dick.
Oh my God.
Suddenly I got sold into a trance.
Good night, everybody.
I'm so sorry, people.
This is
The
the
side
episode.
This is where that cheeseburger song would be great right now.
Yeah, right. Or even better, this one.
Oh my gosh.
What?
No, I thought it was like the VeggieTales cheeseburger song. Is that the one you're referring to?
No.
Yes.
I don't think so. No.
Hamburger.
That's the only cheeseburger
Big
song
Mac,
I know.
Whopper.
Hamburger, cheeseburger, Big Mac, Whopper, Big Mac, Whopper, Big Mac, Whopper.
Yeah, just looking at Carolina Panthers cheerleader while hearing that song in your head is not a good idea.
Exactly. It's like you're expecting me to call that a woman. She has a bigger dick than me. It's like that's this is where we're at in 2025.
Okay.
Jiminy crickets.
No much.
And you're throwing the fact the guy looks like the chick from Wicked, and it doesn't really work out as well as you think.
Oh, Cynthia Erivo became a cheerleader. How about that?
If you played Christ, why I don't know.
It's like what if Cynthia Erivo was hung like Terry Crews?
Oh my God.
No, Rick, she didn't play Jesus Christ because Jesus Christ does not look like a demon. So that's not possible.
Yeah, I have nothing.
Let's get out of here before we get in any more trouble. Rick, where can we find you when this show's over?
Well, assuming I'm still allowed online, I'm still working on through the Summer Under the Stars series. It's almost over. I think I've published I've set the last one to be published. I'll be writing more reviews. Hopefully, getting through Naked Gun, the Fantastic Four, Relay. There's other movies coming up, I assume, and yeah, I don't know if I can come up with even 5 best of. It's just been so awful, but yeah, just writing more reviews and finishing up my Summer Under the Star series, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's it. That's it, guys.
Apparently, Cassie just sent us $10.
Yeah,
something.
Another IOU.
I'm pretty sure they just removed my super chat abilities on here, which is why for some reason I wonder if there was anything that we talked about on tonight's show that could have led to that decision happening here.
You kept
and you know what?
Crypto. You kept bashing crypto. That's what it was.
And you know what? I do it again. I regret nothing. Absolutely fuck all. Here you go, TW. What's you got coming up?
Besides being buried in like a lot of schoolwork, I'm gonna be. Well, I put out a video saying Mortal Kombat was always terrible, so that video is gonna catch a lot of heat, I'm sure. And then I have more videos coming up. I'm gonna be reviewing the Ghostface Killer new album, Tyler Creator's new album at some point. I'm gonna be doing more tier list and all of that stuff. I'm also going to be doing more top 10 videos, like top 10 culture vultures. But yeah, I got a lot of stuff planned, and you can find me on my YouTube channel with the same name and everything like that. And you can find me on Rumble as well.
Okay, quick little note here. Apparently, it's a StreamYard issue. It has nothing to do with YouTube because I see it popped up on YouTube. So first of all, thank you, Cassie, for $10. And if it was a YouTube issue, I was literally just gonna end the show playing the Melanie Mac faggot video twice. But now that I don't have to worry about that, Eddie, what do you got coming up?
Hey, what have I done? I didn't do anything this week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Everybody check me out somewhere else. I'm probably on X or something. And I don't know. Go do what everybody else is doing. Yeah, that's what I'll do. Yeah. Everybody else gets plugs today. Yeah.
Roberto, what's going on?
Hey, everybody. So I'm going to be doing a Paul Thomas Anderson retrospective here leading up to his newest movie, One Battle After Another, I think is what it's called. Little skeptical it's going to be like a leftisty like revolution movie, so we'll see. But I believe in Paul Thomas Anderson. He's never really let me down, so I'll be doing that. I'll have that on my Twitter. And then on Friday I am going to be starting a new podcast where I talk about all the movies I watch every week. And in particular, I want to talk about this movie called Mr. Jones, which is about Keaton Jones, who wrote about the 1930s Russian famine, mostly implemented by their own government to starve the farmers and steal their money. And it was basically like not talked about. Like he was dismissed, he was ridiculed, he was assassinated by these Russian agents a couple years later. But it's a really good movie and worthwhile checking out. So I'll be talking about that along with like 15 other movies on Friday. But yeah, you can find that over on my Twitter, and I'll see you guys next week.
Real quick, and I normally don't do this, but I'm going to put you on the spot here because I see the positioning of your camera right now.
Yeah.
As you can see, there are a bunch of shirts behind you. Is there a shirt that you can pull from that rack right now that you are not embarrassed to show on camera? What is?
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. This is impromptu, people.
You didn't rehearse this?
No.
Wow.
That's it.
Yeah.
To be fair, I thought you were going to get like one with the writing on it or something like that. But
Okay. Well, it's fine. Yeah. No. All of those are in the wash anyway.
We'll try this again next week. Don't worry.
Okay.
Yeah, you could wear those during your podcast, Rob.
Mm-hmm.
Cider, who's still playing Bounding Battle Max or something like. What do you got coming up?
Yeah, I'm clearly playing Goat Simulator here on the Bounding Battle Max multi-use arcade. Anyway, over here at the Oasis Lounge, Bounding Egyptian-themed Oasis Lounge. We have a lot of things happening over on the Bounding Into Comics channel. You should probably just tune in and find your favorite thing. We'll see you then.
One more thing, we owe people at least one more week of Slam Ball. So me and Cider have to get together and finish that 1 week of Slam Ball. There's not that many games or episodes left, so we'll have to come put something together and get that one done. But that'll be coming up here, and then I'll be busy over the next few days because I got some things planned outside of the internet realm. But I'll be back here next Sunday. Normal time, like I said yesterday, I went on live on a Monday with everything that was going on. Got a tooth extracted. Basically, all day Saturday, I was just hopped up on Oxycontin and like half asleep the whole day. So I was extremely unproductive this weekend. So I did a special show on Monday. Now I'm going to do another one on Sunday. We're going to talk about the connection between the Feast of Trumpets and the Rapture, and about why so many people believe that the Rapture could happen next month, and whether we should be giving any credence whatsoever to people setting dates about these type of things. We'll talk about that in more detail on Sunday's episode. And then, like I said, Tuesday we'll be back here, same time, same place, with most of these people. I don't know if they'll all show up again next week, but most of them will be here. So, till then, thank you very much for joining us here on tonight's episode. I'll guess instead of our typical outro to end things quicker, we'll just give you guys a quick little note here of Dana Point. So, adios, goodbye, and good night. Question mark? Question mark?